Yo guys, good evening. Tonight we've got a load of yellow stuff all over our commander. It's not custard, it's just tape. It's just tape, that's all. But now we can start working on the really interesting bits. We can start getting the purples and the pinks sorted out on this guy. Get all of his tape ripped off and then assemble him so we can start working on the interesting bits. Get those highlights down, get those shades in, and make this guy start looking like a boss. It's going to be good. When he's all assembled, he's going to look baller. Absolutely baller. Hello to everyone in the chat. We've got Viking, Dez, Crooked Grin, Hicko. How you folks doing? Hope you all having a good day. On yesterday's Hellstorm stream, we finished off the blue. We started working on some of the details here on his base. So currently we've got a couple of white lines put in there. You can see we've got some Tau lettering in here. Hoping we can get to the stage where we are shading all of this, make all of this start to stand out a lot more than it currently does tonight. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put all of the blue bits to one side. Going to get rid of all of that for a second because I want to focus on these guns. Now last stream we added some grey just to get our highlights down, but they're a little bit too bright, so we're just going to knock that back to begin with. So we're going to grab some black and we're going to start working on getting these much darker than they currently are, but we're going to leave in a lot of the highlight at the very top. It's just going to allow us to get some nice brushed highlights in there at a later date, possibly tonight, maybe not, and that'll really make them jump out. But for now, we just need to knock back some of the brightness that we've got on there. So grab the airbrush, get that fired up, get some black paint on the go. Super thin. I'm going to glaze this in over the top. So we'll probably go in about 4:1 flow improvement paint right now. It's going to take time, but that's fine. It's worth getting right. Almost all the rest of the mini is kind of blue and pink. Very few areas of a brighter color like this, so we want to make sure that this is on point. Hicko, doing well, dude. You haven't missed a lot. You've only missed one stream of this guy, where all we did was paint a load of blue, a load of silver, and a bit of red. And one of the things I'm looking forward to about getting this guy assembled is we start glazing over some of our blue that's gone on top of the greys, so the gaps in his armor where the mechanical parts of the suit live, and these jet thrusters, things like that, where we've got a little blue in there. We start glazing over that with some greys, bring that back to where we want it to be. So these two are the ones that go on his arms. I know this because this is the top, whereas these are the other way up, because these go on his backpack, pointing out over his shoulders, and we need this little tank to be out of the way. So we want to keep the tank nice and bright. So we're going to cover that up with our thumb. And we're just going to slowly glaze in this black paint just above that. Just going to darken down the bottom area of the gun a little bit. Now it's important when we're doing this that we don't allow there to be a dividing line. We don't want a super sharp, the highlight stopped here kind of point. So if we compare these two now after just a little bit, you still see we've got plenty of gradient, plenty of room we can start keeping this darkness bringing in. And when you're doing any kind of color correction like this, you really will benefit quite a lot from having something like that as a reference you can just flick to here and there. So that's much darker. Bring these in. This one still looks very grey. This one still obviously looks quite grey. It's nothing like as bad as it was. Oh, you just got yourself an eye of water? Dude. Beast mode airbrush right there. So there you go, even more of that coming through. And I think that's about where we're going to stop, because now, by the time we've got some nice highlights in there, we start getting that quasi NMM look. That's not really what we're going for. We said this a few times on the last stream, but you're going to get something around that effect. through the inside. Now this you won't see so much of because we've got the thrusters in against that, which is why the tank isn't highlighted up as much. But now it's even more important that we get those shadows in there, because this will be in shadow. Just feathering that in there with the airbrush, darkening that area down. Just keep going a little bit further. There you go, it's much darker on the inside now. So if we check out this one, still quite bright on the inside. This one, much darker. We're just going to sort of knock back, like I said, the highlights that we lay down on these. Now, that's one of the best things about painting, is that if you're using nice thin coats of paint, you're not just sort of slapping it on with no real thought, you've always got the option to go back and forth throughout your blends, throughout your layers, and make sure that the finished product is exactly what you want. And obviously with an airbrush, as you're applying really thin coats of paint, you can almost guarantee this being the result. Giving yourself plenty of time. There's no such thing as like, oh, it's too late with an airbrush. Always go back, bring things back up. So that one's looking a little darker still than this one, so just even it out, another pass or two going through. Still protecting that tank using our thumbs. You can see it here, nice and bright, protected from here where the airbrush is. Physically, it cannot hit that. There you go. So just going to dry that down a little bit, stop there being any kind of reflection from the slight satin nature of the paint. December Wind, how you doing? Now we can compare these two again. Much darker. Just going to adjust the camera to its normal setting that we use. There you go. Now you can see that that is definitely a lot darker, especially as soon as you start getting onto the angles of it. From here we've still got a lot of the highlights being shown from the top, but if we do that you can see it straight away very dark now in comparison. So let's do these. These ones, this bit is up in the air, hence the highlights on the top part of that. So we need to get just in underneath there, a little bit more of that shade going, as well as of course hitting these areas as well. So now what we're going to do is going to carry on working, but we just got to be careful of that. So we're going to tilt the mini away from us. Just going to start bringing in those shadows, darkening this back down again. And by always coming in from essentially the underside, we can't ever hit the top side of any of these features, which means we're already going to be keeping our highlights there anyway. Not really done an edge highlight, but we've just retained an edge highlight. So what have you guys been up to? What hobby have you done since we saw you last? I'm just going to protect this one from this side. Just hit the bottom of that tank. Been carrying on with the Orc planes. They should be ready to come on the show by next week. We could do some oil washing, get some battle damage going on. They're super fiddly things to paint. Anyone that's going to get into Aeronautica Imperialis, just go into it knowing that you are going to have a frustrating afternoon painting here and there, because some of those details are crazy small, and if you don't pay them the right attention, whatever it is that you're painting is just going to look a little bit bad, and it requires a lot of effort for very little payoff. So something to think about if you start picking up tiny planes, get that urge to play that epic scale style game. Dude, getting his DIY on. bring that black in again here. Much darker now. So once again, let's just hit that tank. So it's just coming in on the underside of it. Whilst trying not to sneeze. Sorted. We've got much more in your face shadow. Much more established shadow there. Cool, that's done. Let's get rid of all of that. Just leave a little bit left in there because we want a little bit of black going into our next mix. What we're going to do next is some purple. So here we go, we've got Nagaroth Night. Now before we start just airbrushing this over the Mini, one thing we're going to do first, actually no, scratch that. We can, yeah, we can do without. We can do without, it's okay. So we've got a little black left in our pot, that's going to darken down our purple just a touch. Add in a little flow improver. And then, here we are. So I've got some exciting news, perhaps, for you guys. Some of it I can't say yet. I got asked to do a commission, which is a very small commission, with literally just painting a head for somebody. That's it. Just painting a head. Can't tell you who it's for, but it's for someone that everyone in the chat will know who they are. Everyone in the chat will know who they are. But got that coming probably in about a month. Just a little commission, like I said, just doing a head. I've also been invited in to be the guest on a Twitch broadcast, a podcast, on Friday night for the amazing dudes at the Alliance Open. So Martine has asked me to go on a show and talk about the recent painting contest that they held. It's their sort of welcome to 9th painting contest. That'll be on Friday. It'll be on at 7:15 UK time. So work that out in whatever area of the world that you folk live in. You'll obviously be able to watch it back on their Twitch VOD and so on. That's their Friendly Fire Friday podcast. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. I love those guys. If you've ever had the opportunity to visit one of their events, then you will share my feelings on how awesome these guys are. The Dyson, how you doing, man? Yes, they are Dutch. There's two things in life I can't stand. People that are intolerant of other people's cultures and the Dutch. But I love the Dutch. Everyone I met was very, very nice. Although, here's the thing, right? You know how everywhere you go, Chimo, I can't back that. I just can't. I can't support that claim. It was a good lunch. It wasn't the best. But you know how some place in the world you go, people have different traditions, maybe different ways of doing things, different reactions to the same sort of stuff. And that's interesting. Out there, if you go into a shop and you get to the till, yeah, someone will say hello. Me being Neil will say, hey, how you doing? And the answer will be, I'm fine, thanks. I'm fine too. Thank you for asking. There's none of that. They don't ask you back how you are. I don't know if they don't give a shit. Because, I mean, like, they don't really, let's be honest. Or whether it's just not just part of what they do. But it's just, you say, how you doing? Like, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm having a great day. Oh, no, I'm not feeling so great today. That's it. That was the only thing I found that was weird about Holland. Like, literally the only thing. Well, actually, no. I thought quite a lot of the more touristy parts of Amsterdam were weird, but that's just because we don't have that here. But in terms of social interaction with people, this bit's weird. That was weird. The Dyson, yes, you did, mate. Good evening to you. I won't ask how you're doing, because now we don't do that. So you'll notice that when I'm spraying the top of this, we're spraying at an angle that will take the coat of paint past the mini. We're not spraying directly downwards where it will hit any of this blue. And when we may get the tiniest amount of overspray, we're limiting it as much as we can do by doing that and taking that action. What we're looking for with these bits of purple we're applying is use the purple as a nice solid base coat so we can build that up to an extremely vibrant bright pink highlight. We're doing blue and pink Tau. That's just the way it is. We're just writing how are you. I'm fine. Nothing more. Nothing more. Ichu, how you doing, man? So yeah, looking forward to that. That's Friday night. Like I said, got a super secret commission. I'm going to paint a head, a very famous head, for a very famous person. I think that's going to be a cool little commission to do. Right, this took longer to mask than I swear it's worth it. But I just want a little purple stripe on his arm. That's all. Because this arm is the one that's like leaning out of the front. We're doing that Iron Man with the flamethrowers pose, remember? So this guy's got a shoulder pad on that arm that have a purple stripe. I didn't want to do a vertical stripe like I did on the other arm. So I just masked off this one tiny section of arm. It was a faff. It really, really was a faff. Now, I know we say a lot when we're working with the airbrush that it's all about control, but it's actually more important than ever when you're working with tape. When you've got any mask on, in fact, because if you apply too much paint, that little bit of spider webbing that you can get, well, instead of spider webbing just on the surface you're painting, will go underneath the tape. Which means that all that work you've done masking off that area to be painted is suddenly undone. So you must make sure you don't overdo it. Just use the airbrush to allow just air to pass over the mini. Can dry it out a little bit for you. Try and avoid using a hairdryer if you can, especially if, like we've done here, we've had to use a little bit of blue tack to mask an area, because all of this I wanted to be purple, but none of the bit underneath it. And that was the easiest thing to mask with. So we've got blue tack, we've got two different kinds of tape, got loads going on. So let's do this bit and get out of the way. Now if you use a hairdryer, all this becomes obviously very sticky and very loose, and very difficult to get cleanly off the mini, in which case you've kind of buggered yourself in terms of the way your mask is gone. And like this one, where we've got the tape perpendicular to the surface we're painting, we really do want to make sure we're not going to get any of that spray shooting down the sides of that tape. Now there's inevitably going to be a little bit of it. So when we peel the tape off later on, I'm fully expecting to see a little bit of purple or pink on the blue. That's fine. Because when that happens, that's going to be a prime location for a little bit of battle damage. I'm going to do a little on this suit. I don't want it to be super damage. I want it to look relatively fresh. So we'll try and keep all of that to a minimum. What other exciting things have we got going on? Well, I guess tomorrow night is relatively exciting. It's my night off, We normally don't do hobby on a Wednesday night. We normally do nothing on a Wednesday night. Smoke stogie, maybe chat to some friends on like Google Hangouts or something like that. Have a drink. All these sorts of things, but not tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Because tomorrow, I'm picking up my Indomitus box. 1 of 3. And this is the one we're going to assemble the Judicia and the Scorpec. Scorpec Lord. Not giving him flamethrowers, giving him fusion, because whilst I love the idea of having a quad flamer commander, and that would be really, really good, there are definitely times where you'd want that. I'm more likely to use quad fusion. So, yeah, hence that. But tomorrow night, it's all about picking up that Indomitus box. Get that Judicia and the Scorpec Lord sorted out. And then, if you guys want to see it, I'm thinking that Thursday, instead of doing some more work on the commander, instead of doing that, I show you guys how to paint this boy here. Because then I'll have a load of new Necrons, and I'll need to paint them, I guess. This is a cool scheme. It's the new Cron scheme. I like it. It's also very quick. This mini took 45 minutes to paint. So I'm thinking we do a stream where we just show you guys how to get this guy done, start to finish. But I'm leaving it to you guys and the rest of the people following Instagram to go and vote for that. So go to my story if you're on Instagram, or Facebook, I think you do the same thing. Definitely got that sneeze coming on. And go and vote. You want to see Necrons? Vote yes. Want to see Tau? Vote no! If you want to see some new Crons get painted, I might do one of the Scorpec dudes, because I love them. I think they're ace. Then go vote yes. So here to get this bit, we're doing a lot of that rocking of the trigger. We're just putting down the smallest amount of purple paint. We're working very close to us not to get any paint on here. So obviously the pressure is right up there, so you've got to be careful. And we're just dropping a tiny bit of paint. Tiniest bit of purple on there to help lock in that base, but without it running in underneath any of our tape. As much as we've got a recovery plan for getting some highlights down to mask little bits, getting some battle damage down to mask larger bits, and then maybe even just glazing in some blues like we're going to have to do with the greys on all of this sort of stuff. As much as we've got that recovery plan, let's keep that for the worst case scenarios, yeah? Let's try and avoid doing that extra work if we can help it. So again here, plenty of rocking on the trigger. Just making sure we're painting the surface and not anything underneath that tape. And it's even more important on surfaces where you've got curves like this, because you're almost never going to get that perfectly adhered to, like sealed up joint. And then when you've got these little jigsaw bits going on, that again is going to cause an issue or two. But that's where we're going to rescue a lot of it with the edge highlights, with getting our shades in, hitting all those recesses. There's loads of work left to do. We're still in the base coating stage, really, if you think about it. Though this is one of the last base coats, so that's a plus. Not gonna lie, new Crons look good, even as a Tau player. They do look good. I do like the color scheme. I don't think it's like the most exciting Necron color scheme I've ever seen. By far, like we've painted cooler looking Crons than the new Crons. We did that purple Cron with the orange cloak and all those gems down it. We did a little speed challenge, getting all those gems painted in 20 minutes. That was a lot of fun. But to do an army of them en masse, I think making sure it's something that's simple, that doesn't take forever, is a good idea. Especially when I'm not going to play them. Like, I've got no real vested interest in playing crons. I just happen to have a load of crons. You're going to keep yours and paint with something daft. Mate, that'd be good practice minis. Yeah. There's a lot of nice areas to highlight. Some smooth bits. Lots of bits of detail. So you've got plenty of room there for getting some airbrush foo going on and really going ham. Like, I'm really looking forward to our Gypsy Danger inspired Scorpack Lord at the weekend. Absolutely buzzing for that. But the new cron scheme is cool. So again, just masking with the thumb. And as before, we've got some blue on this. We're still gonna have to glaze all this out. The like the knee joint we've got in here, so it's very pale, same as this one that caught some friendly fire. But it's gonna be going back to that relatively quickly. Gonna paint at least one as an ultramarine and put it up in Frozin's with transfers and everything. Wow, wow, that's he's gonna love you for that. What you need to do is paint it as like one of his blue crons, put it in the whip as like just blue, and then put the next one in there with some gold trim, some white hues on and things, and you're like, start off with like, inspired by you, Chris, I love you so much, you're the best, Chris. And then the next thing you know, you can watch him flip his shit because you've turned his scheme into an ultramarine. An ultra-cron. Alt-cron? It's kind of getting there. And does anyone know where his Tau has got a wart on his knee? I have no idea what this little protrusion is. It's in the wrong place to be anything else, so. And even the scale is a bit small. Oh, nuts. Absolute bum. So, there is a tiny bit we forgot to trim out just here. So, carefully cut him with a craft knife. Around that little jigsaw puzzle piece. Now, unfortunately, I have run out of X-Acto blades, and I discovered yesterday when I was doing this that this blade has ever so slightly lost its tip. So this is not the best edge to be doing this with. Ideally you want to use a brand new blade or one that is in tip-top condition doing stuff like this, otherwise you can't really get into that corner very well. But we make do, alright? We find a way. It's a bit like a miniature version of that judicious chop sword we've got going on here now. Now once you've got that as freed up as you can, sensor node for quick movements. Fair. I thought it was maybe like if he needs somebody in the gentleman sausage, it would do extra damage. I mean, Tau close combat is dirty stuff. Does anyone know what the Onager Gauntlet actually is? Does anyone actually know what the Onager Gauntlet is? So, Onager is either a breed of, or a foreign name for, I can't remember, a donkey. And it's a gauntlet, and you punch people with it. And from that, you guys can draw your own conclusions as to how juvenile Games Workshop is. Des says, here's an interesting rules interaction. In 8th, the unit received cover save. Every model in the unit was in or touching terrain, so we would take normal saves when models not benefiting. And when it's dead, yeah, absolutely. Can't see that in stipulation. In 9th, it's be on model by model basis. Yes, yes it is. Since the player being shot at selects a model to allocate the wound to and make saving throws so that you can roll for all your models in cover first. Thoughts? Yeah, that's totally correct, man. Like the letter of the rules for night, that's the way it is. Unless you can find anything in terrain that specifically states unit, not model, then yeah, you're probably right. It's going to make it really, really hard, by the way, so this is a tip for anyone, to drop Sisters of Battle that are in cover if they're ignoring that AP -2 with their order of being holier than thou, or whatever it's called that they get. God, I mean, people hide under the sofa and close the curtains when religious people come and knock on your door. Can you imagine how bad it would be if a Sister of Battle rocked up at your house? I want to talk to you about the God Emperor. Well, I haven't really got time. Heretic! So the thing is, like with that, frequently people will hide stuff in cover and be defended, or in a defensible position. I don't mean a rule interaction there, I just mean that they have either a way of being out of line of sight or whatever else, to give them a defensive capability they wouldn't normally have. But that's normally because you're there to get an objective or something similar, right? There's normally a reason why you're there. It's a means to an end rather than just, oh, I just want to be in cover. Although sometimes it is that, let's be honest. So, for a lot of people, they'll be doing that and going, I could take it on this dude here and get a 3-up save, or if I fail that by accident, then I don't hold the objective, which means I lose the primary. And so there's a little bit of that. The Dyson, I am just sort of working it out. Basically, I've worked out that I can do 2 1.5 hour long paint lessons on a Monday night after I finish the Hellstorm stream. And I'm just now sort of working out the best way of doing that. So obviously, the best thing to do would be for both me and the client to have a camera so we can see what each other's doing, so I can provide tips. Give that feedback immediately, like at the time. That's the best thing to do in that sort of situation. And it's just about making sure that I can provide the right level of feedback for the cost. Obviously, there's going to be a cost. I'm going to pitch them out relatively low to begin with. We're not talking. We're not even talking like 50 quid for that lesson. We're talking way lower than that. Although I did notice, and this made me cringe substantially, there is a well-known painting studio that will provide you with a private lesson. You can have a private lesson through that at the low cost of €100 for 1 hour. Okay. I mean, damn. So, yeah, we're going to be a lot cheaper than that. I'm thinking, though, it's going to be a cost that allows me to at least make minimum wage. So, there's that. But for people that are interested, we'll build up like a client list, and we will establish, and I think this is the best way to do it, we'll establish what you want out of the lesson, or lessons. So let's say there was somebody here the other day, it was like, I want to paint orcs, can you teach me how to paint orcs? And like, yeah man, for sure, we can try and work that into a stream schedule at some point. It's just, usually it depends on, has someone commissioned me to paint an orc, or is there an orc in the mystery box? There might be. Yeah, exactly. Now, don't get me wrong, that there is definitely a rationale as to why you would pay £100 once to learn how to paint, say, a character standard mini, although you ain't doing that in an hour. And then you never have to pay to have a character mini painted again. So, you know, I understand that there is an economy in that. But like €100 for an hour's worth of tuition feels a little... Maybe stage 1 in the lesson is to write the word mug here, and then they've got you. I don't know. Right, last bit of purple base coat. There's a bit on here we have to be really careful of, which is right here, because this bit of tape obviously covers a recess that we've got, and I don't want the purple to really pool in there. We know we can sort it out by just adding in a couple of shades and deal with it, but I'd rather it not just really pool in. So, anyways, going back to that guy that you wanted to paint orcs, right? Cool. So, I can teach somebody how to paint an orc in an hour and a half, but what kind of quality are we talking here? Like, if you want me to paint along with you an orc character and you want to take your time on it, well, we're not going to do that in an hour and a half. We're just not. It took 18 hours to paint Ragnar on stream, which is really... call it 10 hours of actual work, right? I could do that in a day, no problem. Bam. And the Ragnar is done. But if I'm teaching somebody, it's going to be even longer, because like, right, so you need to do this, you need to do that, and well, don't do this because this, and if you do it this way instead, you'll get this benefit, and so on and so forth. So there's going to have to be a lot more chat and things like that. And I'm pretty good about keeping things focused from like training I've done at work, helping to teach people different systems and stuff like this. But it comes down to narrowing the students' like goal for the session to something we can accommodate in that hour and a half, or if it's something it isn't, maybe what they really want to learn is how to airbrush a variety of things. So maybe it's just all about airbrush tuition. So maybe you book like 2 or 3 slots in advance, so you know that week 1 will be general airbrush use and things like zeniths and undershades and this sort of thing. Maybe just getting flat surfaces down on vehicles, so a rhino, whatever. And then week 2 is more stuff like this, something a little bit more advanced, something where you've got to either have a bit more fine control, so you're fine tuning that muscle memory for the airbrush a little bit, or it's doing things like airbrushing parts on a mini that's already painted that you can't mask. Maybe you're doing like we did with Ragnar, like the dog cloak, stuff like that. So you know, there's things like that. Fish, yeah, absolutely. If I just painted and I put in 10-hour days, 6 days a week, I've got enough commission interest I could do that. I just don't want to do that because that would kill my love for the hobby. I know that from experience working in the studio up in Nottingham. It takes its toll when that's all you do and there's not really a lot of breaks. Right, there we go. So that's all of our base colour purple. We're going to leave a little of that in the airbrush, so rinse just most of it out. Now we start working in the pink. Now on everything else, we've done one highlight. It was a case of put in the base coat and then work everything up over many passes with one highlight colour. We're not going to do that with the pink, because this is such a massive jump, such a big difference from the blue that we really want it to be special. Picked the tabletop standard one on stream for about 2 or 3 weeks. It was crazy good. Fair. That's the other thing about my commissions, though. I don't do tabletop work. There's no 3 colors and a wash and a highlight or 2 and stuff. I don't do that. I hate that. I'd rather be really involved in what I'm doing and have all the fun. Tessalcero, what up, dude? Good evening. Looks a little speck when you're just adding a drop or 2 of flow improver. So this is our first pink coat that we're putting on. And this one is the Sunset Red from Vallejo. We're working up to that, and this is going to be a mix of those two. Now, after we've done this, we're going to remove that from our equation entirely and just be highlighting with that Sunset Red. Such a brilliant, brilliant color. That's a bit better. Cool, so let's find something we can test it on nice and easily. Let's not do that as a really big focal point in the mini. So is all of this, to be fair. Let's just do this little stripe that we've got here. I'm doing well, thanks, man. Fish, I don't mind it being a forced thing because it helps put food on the table. You know, well, actually it doesn't. My day job does that. So commission painting for me helps me go on holiday. It helps me do the fun things in life. I just have to deal with the fact that for like maybe 30-ish weeks out of the year, there's a lot less fun. And then for that 1 week, here and there, bam, fun. Fuck yes, all the fun. There we go, so we're starting to get that pink worked into the purple. Gonna let that dry down a little bit. Hit the other side. Again, we're gonna try and avoid using the hairdryer for any of this. Don't want to risk anything around the tape if we can help it. Don't want any of that adhesion to sort of pump up a little bit. There's a little annoying what's just happened there. I don't know if you can see that on camera. Yeah, you can, just about. See that little speck of pink right there in the middle? That's what happens if your tip's not clean every now and again. Glad I caught it at that, and it's just that one tiny dot, but fuck. Damn. Except that'll be like school dinners, uniforms, sports kit, fucking you name it. Coming back in, getting a second pass in on these with this highlight color. Help keeping this nice and gradual before we hit this with that super, super vivid color at the top. That's the final highlight color of the pink. That's already a nice contrast to our blue. That's going to get much, much brighter though as we go on. Right. Now we can start working on the highlights for these panels. We've done the base coat, and now we can start getting the more interesting elements to it. So with this one, for instance, that's probably a little bit too small of an area to do a highlight up to that line and a smaller highlight up to that one. But we might be able to do that with our final highlight, just not with a blend. So we'll just start bringing this in from the top. We'll definitely be able to do it with our brushed highlights. And then maybe just apply a little bit of a wash, tiny bit of glaze, just to get an extra bit of separation, a bit more contrast in there. So yeah, got that pink building. Let's start working here. MGB Swarm models receive the benefit there to area when they're in it, so it looks fine. Yeah? Yeah, exactly. I had a feeling that was the way, man. Your eldest wants you to transfer into a bank so you can buy stuff off Amazon or what? Fuck no. Right, so same as we did before on this, we're going to make sure we've got that variation in here because we've got these larger panels. So tilting the mini away from us, and spray down here so that we can't spray onto this tiny section. I'm going to spray past the mini, And then slowly start working that up onto that surface. Tiny amount of paint, take your time. Don't force it. ACJ72 getting the sub in there. Dude, thank you very much. Don't know that name, so welcome to the stream and thanks for that sub. Really appreciate it. How you doing? As somebody asked earlier on, do I think Tau has been royally shafted in 9th? And I didn't ignore the question, I just got sidetracked and didn't answer it, so apologies. It was Macaman92, there you go. So, no, not really, is the answer to that. There's a lot of things that maybe they're not just going to be able to do same as they did before. So shield drones, 15 points. Is that all? Is that all? That one shield drone that saved your broadside being one shot by a fucking last cannon is 15 points? Bitch, please. Shield drones are still cheap for what you get out of them. They were criminally cheap in 8th, but they're still cheap now. Unit coherency. Oh, dude, AMP services coming in. My friend, I know you're going to have to run off to work. I'm sure of it. But thank you, dude. How are you? Let's get some hype in the stream for this absolute boss, man. Love this, dude. How was your stream the other night? I stuck around for as long as I could, but I finish at like midnight my time. I am toast by there. Speaking of toast, here's to you, brother. Doing well, man. Doing very well. Working on some tank. Painting pink. I've wanted to do a pink army for ages. And it's currently just accents on these Tau, but we'll find ways to make a Riptide look like Barbie, the mech version, at some point. How can I not give you a warm welcome? How can I not, dude? Absolute boss mode. You guys should definitely check out Justin. Very, very, very positive, positively minded person in the community. There's a lot of people out there that will put on an act and be all very like, yeah, go guys, woo! This guy means it, like 100% of the time. Means it. Makes you smile. Stop it, man. You'll make me blush. I'm red enough. I don't need to be more red. You know, look at these rosy cheeks that are like... It's like the Marlon Brando cheeks. You asked me this is the day of my daughter's wedding. Malades, yo man, what up? Damn time zones, right? Just working on getting the blends right for our highlight on these armor panels. We want to have as much contrast as possible in every single one of these. And we've got one more highlight to do, which we need to blend in. So we're going for... Well, I'll tell you, I've just realised. Oh shit. Does this colour scheme look familiar to anyone right now? Yeah, no worries, dude. I fucking stare at that billboard constantly. It's right in front of me on my desk, and I've just realised. My God. My God. Now all I need is a red and yellow army. Oh, I should totally have done these yellow instead of white. We could still do that. Totally still do that. I don't know if it's a Transformers font. I know this is custom lettering. Because when I got all the stream redesign the other week, the the guy that was doing it was like, oh, I need the font for your logo so I can animate it. And so I spoke to the guy that designed this, and he went, it's not a font, I drew the letters. You know, that was the way it was going to be. But this part might be, I don't know. We've got that kind of chrome effect that I love. The design brief for this that I gave to Hobo J, so you can find him on Twitch. He's my buddy Jake. Known him for years. Great dude. The design brief was, I want 80s metal twinned with that moment in Street Fighter when you knock someone the fuck out. That KO! That was the brief. And I feel he nailed the brief, but I just realised we've now got that, and I should definitely make the base red and yellow and have Mohawk Tau. We're going to repaint that white at some point. We're going to repaint that yellow. Oh, we missed that one. How did we miss that? How did we miss that? It's got to be now. It absolutely has to be. There's no way around it. Right, this is the arm that comes down at the side, which means that we also want to put highlights on this end of these areas too. What we've done basically is airbrushed in like an L section of the highlight on each of these areas. Taking a break from your night, painting Shrike now. Nice, man. Very nice. I haven't painted much of Shrike. I've painted his gun. And I've painted his claws, and that's it. Because they ended up on a Custodes-themed Eversaw Assassin. That was it. Cyberpunk, that's the game with Keanu Reeves in, which has been delayed for over a year now, right? Because that looks really cool. I saw a trailer for that going to a Hellstorm event. Christ, that was Hellstorm 2. I saw the trailer for that and I was like, damn, that looks cool. We'll play that when it comes out. When's it out? October. Sweet. They didn't put a year, so, you know. Does kind of look like the G1 Transformers logo with a red chrome, blue fade. Yeah, I can totally see that. Right, do we need to do much on the bottom of here? Not really, but we will get a sneaky highlight or two popped in here with the airbrush. So we are edge highlighting with the airbrush because we're facing this away from us. We've just hit that top section in the right spot. Oh, I totally didn't realise we were painting my own fecking company colours. But now I have to repaint that base. We've got to get Mohawkminiatures Tau. Right, this goes sideways on, so it's is it that? Well, it's facing away from the camera, so we'll just do it the other way around. This is the top section here. And on the blue, we cheated with our highlights a bit. We highlighted this from here upwards, and then we did a rule of cool highlight on this one to bring it down before that one went back up. So there's lots of flipping around the highlights, right? Justin, peace out, man. You take it easy. Thank you for stopping by and bringing your community here. Much love, man. I'll look after them. Enjoy your shift. So just get a little highlight popped in at the top here. There we go. Got to be careful with this because we do need to make sure we've got room for a second highlight, but we need to retain that purple. So I'm just going to mark it with my finger so I can see a little clearer as to where the overspray is. I'm basically airbrushing here and allowing the overspray to do this part for me. Reading about obstacles, you can take a cover save on a model's in cover first, but throwing off a penalty to the hit roll. If a single model is out of cover, it wouldn't apply. You're going to take to getting used to. Yes. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, you're talking about obscuring. No, dense terrain. It is going to take some getting used to. I finished writing the rules pack today for a tournament being held on the 9th of August. So if you guys are local to Gloucestershire, check out Atlantic Games in a couple of days. It's not official yet, it's not been announced, but Wolfpack is ready. It's been handed over to the guys at the shop who are running the event. I just do all the technical 40k bits. Surprise! Is now following. That was a surprise. Thank you for the follow. And welcome to the stream, of course. So yeah, if you guys want to come down and play some Night Cloud 40k, there's only going to be 16 tickets available. The shop can take, but you could run a GT in there, happily enough. If they had enough terrain, if we had enough tables and everything else. But there's enough room, at least, for that. So we've got loads of room for it. We'll be very capable of maintaining social distance and being alert and responsible and so on. Rich the Merciless! Dude, keep up the good work, he says. Has there been any good work yet? Have we done any good work? I'm still trying. But thank you very much, man. Really appreciate that sub. Get that Twitch Prime going on. Alright, there we go. We're starting to get that purple fade into pink. And we've got the shade coming down this way now. Trying to remember how far the blue came down on this highlight. I think it was a little further than that. So we just fleshed that out a little bit more than we would normally do. If it comes to it, just glaze in a shadow and just knock back the pink with some more purple. Hit this one from the other side, and then this one, just a little highlight, because this is definitely pointing downwards. We won't even do a highlight past that. Same as this one, probably won't get one either. We just rely on a brushed highlight to really just sneak in there and edge it up, but that's cool. We've got 1, 2, 3 bits left to do. Let's do this arm, which is the easy one. And that's, again, the other way around, but there's no point in showing you the back of the arm. So what we'll do with this one is we'll do a highlight in from the front and leave this bit dark and edge highlight at the top of it. So coming in from this side with our brighter pink. And we've got a lot of that rocking motion on the trigger going, just because we're working basically perpendicular to this bit of tape, and we don't want to squeeze in too much paint underneath that. So feather that in, and then just concentrate some of those highlights up towards the front. There's lots of air going through. Right now there's no paint, as you can see. Just air. And we're using that to basically dry this down. Yes, Sarah, Smasher Gun for the mech guns. It's mathematically the best one to take. So you've got the tractor cannon, which is great against flyers. You know, auto hits. Happy days, right? But is it the best thing to shoot a flyer with? You can't roll Daka with it. That's the problem. So even your normal gun, you're shooting a flyer, hits on 6 because of the -1. But you always hit on a 6 because you're an orc. And in fact, everything else now always hits on a 6. So you get a smasher gun, you fire D3 shots, which means you fire an average of 2 shots. And on those 2 shots, you've got a chance that's it's not a 1 in 3. A 1 in 3 would be one roll of a 6. It's greater than 1 in 3. It's about a 40% chance to roll a 6 on either dice. There are, 7 out of 36 combinations, permutations, I think. Ghosted Wolf, what up, man? So you got a 7 out of 36 chance, which is not bad, of rolling a 6. And then that 6 you then get to roll another shot for. And then most flyers are T6 or less. There are some that are T7. There's none I can think of that you'd see in a normal game of 40k that are T8. And so you've got a reasonable chance of getting at least 1 hit per smasher gun, and then a really good chance of wounding with it. with -4, and they're not going to get a save on that. Unless they've got an invuln. So suddenly, the Smasher Gun, against a target the Tractor Cannon is meant to be the best thing at killing, outperforms the Tractor Cannon. And then you throw in the fact that not everything flies. So you might want to shoot other targets. And not having to wound on 5s, but rolling 2d6, and just beating the target's toughness with that is massive. That's super clutch. Admittedly, against T8, it hurts because there's a lower than average chance that you'll wound. But anything that's T7 or less, you will wound a lot. And they're brilliant, absolutely brilliant at taking out elite infantry. Paladins. They're so good at wounding paladins because you don't get the -1 to wound, you don't get transhuman against them or anything like that. Because you're not making a wound roll that's strength versus toughness. You're doing this weird, I roll 2 dice and try and beat your toughness test. And you do d6 damage at -4, so Centurions can get fucked. New Space Marine bikes can get fucked. Aggressors, eliminators, all of these things suddenly start dying really quickly against them. With my knights, I don't live in fear of them, not really, but I'm respectful of them. They die. They get shot quick. Jake, Hobo J, he routinely runs 12 in a list, which is worrying. It's enough shooting that suddenly you have to really respect the orc shooting phase. Right, just gonna hit the end of that, and then just touch that end. Bring that highlight in just a little more. Still leaving room for that bright pink final highlight though. Oh, it's gonna look so sick. This looks so sick, I can't wait. Yes. Yes. Right, let's start up here because this one is actually the one we need to pay most attention to, because both those pieces of tape perpendicular to the way your paint is running, so they're actually they're in line with your paint, perpendicular to the surface you're painting on. So whew. Goated Wolf, what's a day off from painting? Is that when you go to a tournament? I remember those. I remember those days off from painting. Feels like a long time ago now though. So just a tiny bit of paint, let it dry down. Tiny bit of paint, let it dry down. Tiny bit of paint, let it dry down. Just repeat that. Just try and preserve us from a lot of runoff down there. 12, that's crazy. Any point army. In fact, we played 2,000 points, dude. But that's we play whatever the tournament match play rules suggest are going to be the standard standard game size. All right. So we played 2,000 points for the last however long. We went to a few events that was 1750, so we played 1750 to practice. In 6th edition, we were playing 1850. But we played full armies. We don't do kill team side games. We don't do like incursion games or anything like that. We want to play 40k because we want all of our toys on the table, but not have a crazy size game like Apocalypse or anything like that. That's never been my bag. Right, just gonna have to hold this a slightly different way to avoid getting any pink on his cod piece. Because he's Tau, right? So, cod piece. Shit jokes all week, guys. Try to video. I'm looking forward to the weekend, though. An entire weekend of streaming. It's always a fun weekend. And we get to paint 2 dope looking models. The base thing, actually, I need to close the poll. So if somebody can exclamation point base in the chat, we'll do one last run through of this, and then we'll close the poll out. Currently, the Urban Jungle was in the lead last time I looked, but the Imperial Palace Marble was in a really close second. So we'll leave that for another hour, and then we'll close it off. I meant to last stream, but didn't get to it. And also, guys, don't forget, this weekend, like I just said, we're painting all the new toys. We're painting 2 of the new toys. We're painting the Judicia, and we're going to paint him as an Ultramarine, as decided by the community. There were 28 votes for an Ultramarine. So no one here can say that Smurfs are boring. Oh, damn, it's really close. Now, look at this. 15 to 12. Urban Jungle versus Imperial Palace Marble. 15 to 12. That's close at the top. So we'll leave that going for a little bit longer. Like I said, about an hour. And then that'll close it out. But we're going to paint the Judicia as an Ultramarine. We're going to paint the Scorpec Lord as a Gypsy Danger from Pacific Rim inspired color scheme. It's going to look so cool. So fucking cool. It's lots of blue, like darker blues with some red and some white stripes. Bright orange for things like his Necron Blade, whatever they're called, I've forgotten. And for the gore stuff on the inside, it's going to be really bright, really in your face. It's going to be super sick. Now, if you want to find out a bit more about that, be here at the weekend. We'll be selling tickets. You'll buy tickets through donations, essentially, into the raffle. The ticket price will be £1 per ticket. Not a lot. So save your monies. Don't go crazily gifting subs now. Wait till the weekend and do the donos. Because for that £1 ticket, if you just buy 1 ticket, you get 1 ticket. If you buy 5 tickets, I'll give you 3 bonus ones. If you buy 10 tickets, I'll give you 5 bonus ones. No, it doesn't. Yeah, it does work. 5, 10, 6. No, that doesn't work. Oh, that was it. It was buy 3, get 1 extra. Buy 3, get 1 free. Buy 10, get 5 free. That's it. So £1 a ticket, £3 for what would be 4 tickets, and then £10 for 15 tickets. That works out. Had to remember the math we did last time. Now, if you win, let's say you are the first person to get their name drawn for that raffle. If you win, you get your choice of either mini we've just painted. So you either win character standard mini of the Judicia or the Scorpec Lord. And then we give you the rest of that faction out of the box, brand new on sprue. In leaf bucks. In Canadian land, it is 1 gill of maple syrup. That's the conversion rate. We don't take Canadian dollaroos. We just take maple syrup. But I have no idea what the conversion rate is, mate. I couldn't tell you at all. Apologies. But for that 1 ticket, that could win you the start of a new army and a character standard mini. If you're second place prize, don't worry, you're not going home empty-handed. You get the other mini. And you get the rest of its faction as well. So 2 people are going home with a solid start to a new army. That's a solid start as well. You know, the Marine half of that box is good. The Necron half of that box is good. You can get yourself set up nice and tidy there for a new army, for a new edition. I've got a prize for 3rd place. I might have revealed it already on stream, but I'm not going to tell you guys what it is just yet. Just in case I haven't. But it's cool. The biggest heist in Canadian history was a maple syrup heist, like 9 million barrels, liters, dollars worth. I can't believe that $9 million is the biggest heist. Really? Damn. Forgive me, that seems small. I don't know why. I don't know. $9 million is a lot of dollars. Like, it's not an insignificant number of dollars. It's more dollars than all of us in the chat have, probably combined. Mickey on, thank you for that follow and welcome. That seems... It seems a lower number than I was expecting. Yeah. Venture when I'm probably just going to give it to my mate. I've already got a box in order. Totally good suggestion for what to do with the price. But I'd probably keep the painted mini if I were you, Commissar Bob. Now, if you wanted a box and couldn't get one because Commissar Bob got his and you couldn't get yours, it's your fault, Commissar Bob. You were the reason they sold out. You should be ashamed, young man. 18 mil. Okay, well, that's twice. It's got up in value now. That inflation, right? But if you wanted a box and you couldn't get one because Commissar Bob stole yours, he didn't really. I'm only joking. Don't give him any hate. No hate for Bob. He's a commissar. He's allowed to shoot you in the head or the back. Usually the back of the head. But if you couldn't get one, we're giving away an entire Indomitus box. If you type in !box, you will get a link to my Instagram where there will be a post that you can like the post, follow me on Instagram, follow me on subscribe to me on YouTube, and then comment in the post description saying that you've done the things and the stuff and what your YouTube name is, and you're on the list to win an entire Indomitus box. Not a part of it, not a couple of minis, not the empty box, not a rule book, one Indomitus box. Occasionally valued at £600, frequently valued at £250, and somehow actually sold at north of 200 quid. Fuck you, eBay scalpers. You should all die of, like, having your testicles removed with a piranha. I think that's a good finishing move for someone who does that. Piranha to the nads. And if you're a lass, we'll make it work. We'll find a way. Just get a little highlight on there with the airbrush. That's going to be mostly brushed highlights and shading on there to keep that looking good. But pop these highlights up a little more, ready for that final highlight of bright pink soon. We've got one area left to do, and then we're on to the super brightness. Syphilis is almost certainly not a good way to die. Like, GW literally throwing down that shade like High Fleet Leviathan blotting out the sun. Yerp. But here's the thing though, right? And this is my cynical capitalist head that we're putting on right now. GW don't give a shit. Because their primary goal as a business is to sell their product. And to do that, they will make the game, because it is a game that we're buying into, fun and fair if they can. And to make it fun and fair, they'll release publications that you need to buy to keep ahead with the rules, and so on. And I support this because I fucking love 40k. I spend a not insignificant amount of my life either painting, playing, thinking about, or talking about 40k. Sometimes all at once, like we're doing now. We haven't currently played 40k yet, so let's fire some fusion guns. Oh, we hit twice. Oh, we wounded. You failed your saves. The damage was real! Oh! There we go. We played 40k, we painted 40k, we're thinking about it, and we're talking about it. Did it all at once. So I love 40k. And I'm more than happy to keep buying things like chapter approved and keep buying new rulebooks and psychic awakenings and new codexes and all this shit. Well up for all of that. So I'm not shitting on GW's model at all their models. But they release a limited quantity of boxes they know everyone will want. And bear in mind, guys, the starter set has not been revealed, but I expect it to go up for pre-order on Saturday. Like, I will bet a tenner to one person only. Oh shit, we can't gamble on Twitch. I won't bet a tenner to anyone ever, but if you're in the room, I'd bet you a tenner that on Saturday they announce a pre-order for 9th edition general starter set. I mean, I'm not in the know. But if I was to guess at a starter set, it would be 5 intercessors, the captain with shield, 3 bikes, 20 warriors, some scarabs, 3 Scorpec dudes, and an overlord. That would be my guess, using just the minis in the box as a reference. And my guess is that it's released on around the end of the month. So it's got to be Saturday that goes up for pre-order, right? Mouselock, thank you for that follow. Welcome to the stream. Jay's other name is Jon Snow. No. He has much more of a majestic moustache than I do. I'm trying to grow it, and it's really irritating around here. Like, there's tiny little hairs that are stabbing my fat cheeks. It may not live till tomorrow. There's a definite possibility that it gets shaved the fuck off later on. It's the one part of a beard I don't like is the moustache, but I thought we'd just try and grow it out. See what it looks like. Seeing as I'm stuck indoors, why not? And I'm not loving it. So we'll persevere. We'll try and get it to at least a actual moustache size and shape, I guess. Who knows? Might go really soft, and then do like the Texan. Back to Maple Syrup. Mustachio no for those sticky wikis. Yep, can understand that. Also, it doesn't make you a good plumber because it's not the 70s, and that's not the lines of porn films anymore. Oh, I've come to fix your fridge. Please grab my toolish. Right, now we're up to super bright pink. So we're going to flush all of this out of the airbrush. Trying to work out how much of a faff it's going to be to change that to yellow, and I'm pretty sure not much of one at all. So we're definitely going to do it. Definitely going to do it. There are lines in port. There is a plot. I mean, we've all seen those. You haven't trimmed your beard since March. I haven't seen my chin. The last time I saw my chin was about, I think, probably about a year before I got divorced. But I did probably cut about half an inch to an inch off my beard every month just to bring it back down to this. Although now I'm spending a lot of money on beard products, not to try and grow it, but to try and just take care of it. So a lot of I got oils and balm and shampoo and conditioner, which I never bothered with before. It's me, Mohawky. I'm not sure that's going to catch on, you know. But yeah, we try and grow it, you know, proper beard now. So that's why we're letting everything else grow, just to see what we get out of it. Right, just this hooker lipstick pink. That's what we call this. Crazy Yankster, I got 2 Indomitus boxes. I have stuff to do for the next week. Yes, you do, man. Yes, you do. I'm picking it up tomorrow. I've got 2 boxes arriving from Element Games. No, not from Element Games. From Imps Gaming up in Lincoln. Because Element Games don't send Indomitus boxes out in the post, do they? Lasai. Lasai. Right. Look at how bright this pink is. Hi. Normally trim all mine to 5 minutes or so, but haven't been at work, so I thought, fuck it, let it grow. Nice, mate. Nice. I used to have just a chin strap, so there was nothing under here, and this was all kept at about like that length, I guess. Very, very tidy up here, and then I just stopped giving a shit at one point, and I preferred the beard. After it had grown, I'm like, yeah, beard is better. Oh, damn, that's a bit splattery. Shit. I have to clean that out with a... Click on stream, got a pink eye. Oh, it's just for you, Mr. Wacky Stuff. I knew you were there, said hi. Hi. Would you have preferred another colour? Crazy says, don't know if I should stick with the fist, start Templars, or White Scars with a new box. So, I really like your fists. I think they look great. And so for me, I'd suggest that you carry on with them. If you're looking at the game from a purely competitive standpoint, Black Templars are never going to be the way to go. There's still some spatter going on. Just try cleaning the tip again. Because they're really, really good in one aspect of the game to get the most out of your army, sort of traits and so on. And that's it. And the best things you can do, either buff the movement phase for you, because that's key to the game. That's how you win games, is the movement phase, guys. And honestly, I shit you not. The movement phase, that's where you win. That's better. Look at how bright that pink is. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah! But if you can buff yourself in the movement phase, great. If you can buff yourself in multiple phases, also great. These are the things to do. So I'd go with White Scars out of that list, because they're pretty solid. They've got some good tricks they can do in the movement phase. And it's not all about bikes. Everyone's like, oh, White Scars, bikes. Yes, must get all the bikes. Outflanking and sort of sneaking in some Assault Centurions and some of those Warsuits, the Invictors. Getting them up close in your opponent's face early on in the game. That's hard. That's rough to deal with. The problem with White Scars is, though, similar to Black Templars, is you want to get to turn 3 with White Scars. You really, really, really want to get to turn 3. You want to whip through those doctrines as soon as possible. Soon as possible. And in 9th, things die quite quick. Because vehicles can't get cover anymore. You can see through a lot more shit than you could. And you need to be careful of that, guys. Like, sincerely, you must be careful. There will be a lot of tables out there that will almost be as if there's no cover on a table whatsoever as soon as your opponent moves into position. If they move up on you into a ruin in the middle of the table, and they've got line of sight to multiple objectives, they can see out that ruin, and they will hurt you. You will have a bad day. I'm going to add even more flow improver. Still getting a little bit of speckling, and I really, really desperately want to avoid that now. So, brilliant. Modeus, that sounds very unfortunate, man. I'm very sorry for you. Right, flush that out. Hopefully we can be in a speckle-free zone now. The paint is now stupendously thin, so we have to be very careful that we don't get any spider webbing on this. We're not doing Spider-Man Tau, we're doing Mohawkminiatures Tau. And I, unfortunately, am not Spider-Man. Oh, yes! Oh, yes. Loving how bright this is. Paint 100 models of infantry in my fist and really don't want to do that again for a new chapter. That's why I'm hesitating with the new army. I want to paint white or black at the moment. Why more Marines? That's my initial question. So you've just got quite a large Marine army. We've seen you working very hard on that over the course of the last couple of months. 6 weeks perhaps, I guess. Why more Marines? Is it just I've got the Indomitus box and so here we go? May as well. Because if so, why not just do more fists? I mean, you've got assault intercessors instead of normal intercessors that way. You've got bikes and so on. You've got a lot of characters, a lot of which are new. You've got your veterans, your Blade Guard. And I know you've already got 2 different companies worth of fists as well. Because you've got the black shoulder pad guys and the red shoulder pad guys, right? I don't know which numbers they are. I want to say 3rd and 5th, but I'm probably wrong. So I know you've got two companies in there. So even just from a fluff perspective, like, yeah, well, these ones are 5th company because I've run out of HQ slots or whatever, and now these ones are 3rd company because I've got more HQ slots. So it is 3rd and 5th. God damn, how did I swear I remember that because you said it, not because I knew it. I am not so well clued up on Space Marine chapters. I always have to check things like which shoulder pad is the one with the icon and everything for every single commission I do. Or which knee pad and stuff like that as well. So come to the orc side. Sarah, I'm going to warn you, orcs are hard mode in 40k right now. They are not easy to play in 9th, as you will find out. To be an orc, you want to have units of 30 boys. You just do. Because you need to get them to the other side of the table. You want to get the most use you possibly can do out of things like the Green Tide, out of the jump, warpath powers, all these sorts of things. and so you need a unit of 30 boys to get that. Which means you are at the mercy of every single player with a blast weapon out there. And that's going to be a lot of people. Mr. Wacky Stuff, that is absolutely the correct way to think about it. One of my favourite bits of fluff is the Khorne Demon world, where there's a fuckload of orcs fighting every day against Khorne demons. And at the end of every day, Khorne resurrects all of the dead orcs so he can do it all over again the following day, because why not? They're loving it, they're having fun, he's having fun, he's got a good show to watch. It's got to be better than whatever that goes for EastEnders in the 41st millennium. God, can you imagine a show like EastEnders in 40k? No one's got the same name. They'd have gone through every single permutation of names. And God forbid there was a custode on the show, because that's a name. We're trying to keep this to 2 separate highlights, but very small area to highlight, so it's quite tricky. We'll end up just giving that with a wash. So glaze in some purples to darken down that area, give yourself a little bit of extra separation between those two. I said earlier on, I know I've got a lot of tidy up to do with this mini from where we've got overspray on stuff. It's going to be a little quicker to do any of the tidy up than it will be to have just glazed all these up and painted them in that kind of not metallic, not quite non-metallic way. So I still feel we've gone about this mini the right way. Made the right choices in terms of our sub-assemblies. Oh, I wish I'd left the legs off, I found earlier on today. Oh, dude, thank you for that sub. Seriously, man, thank you very much. Chimo, each dying orc leaves spores behind to grow into more orcs, so Khorne's dimension will soon consist of only orcs. I mean, there's every possibility of that. Think those orcs get bigger? Christ, can you imagine? You'd have nothing but the beast. They're not Ghazi, the fake beast, but like the beast. The prime orc. Orcs are definitely one of my favourite things in 40k. I would never play an orc army because I don't have the patience. When I was working in the studio, one of the things I had to do was paint 200 goth boys. The shoulder pads all had to be free-handed checkers and so on, and I don't like painting checkers because of that. I'll do it in small form here and there if the occasion calls, but oh, it's such a ball ache. And so I couldn't do orcs because the goth orc clan is clearly the coolest one, despite not being the best on the table. Evil Sons. But oh no, I'm not doing that again. Right, sneak in tiny ass highlight just there. And then do this facing now. So again, we're just allowing a little bit of paint out. Let the air just dry it down for us. Then we hit this side. Just a tiny bit more. So, and the bottom one, we'll just do this one, we won't do the one underneath because that's going to be in shadow quite definitely. So just do a little highlight there with the airbrush. Boom. And I'm going to make this even brighter than we've got it. Pop there, and then right, this is it, the last bit, and then all this tape's coming off. Necessarily, no, not at all. It does not exist apart from in that book series, basically. There's a few people that made rules for that sort of thing. I wouldn't know where to even begin looking for them, but people wrote like orc rules for 30k, because orcs are about in 30k. They're just not in the Horus Heresy rule set. And to keep things fair on the table, they created the Prime Orc. But it's like house rules for games. You can't take them as rote. It is 0.35mm. Yeah. Hey, Windy, I didn't see you there. Let's get a shout out from Windy Massive. This guy's a beast. Streamer here on Twitch. General all-round decent guy. How you doing, champ? For stuff like this, which is, I'm not gonna be arrogant about it. I am good with Airbrush. I've spent many hours with Airbrush in my hands, so I've learned how to control it. But this isn't necessarily detail work. So you can do this with like the all-purpose airbrush that I've got here, the Iowata Eclipse, which I still feel is the best airbrush for anyone to buy. It's a workhorse, it's dependable, it gets you the results that you need. You can get your primer put through it without it being an issue, you can get varnishes put through it without it being an issue, so on and so forth, right? You don't need that 0.15mm custom job. This isn't detail work. Detail work is when you're working with like acrylic inks and you're doing canvas work. When you're painting like gas tanks and stuff for motorbikes with an airbrush, that's when you start to need that professional grade, high quality equipment. And in comparison to that, this is a cheap airbrush. You can get this, I sent a mate a link for an eBay auction for, well, it wasn't even an auction, it was an eBay sale for one earlier on. £118, managed to find one on it for it. Seems as low as 116, 115, so not a massive change in that at all. And that might sound like a lot of money, but the custom ones where you can get them at 0.15mm aperture, 415 quid. That's a lot. That's rent. I could pay rent, or I could buy an airbrush that I don't need to use a lot at a time for. Dude, I get my Indomitus. I get one of the Indomitus sets that we've got for the stream tomorrow. So I've got time between tomorrow and the weekend to get that sweet looking Judicia put together. That Scorpeth Lord assembled. Look, I got friends in low places, alright? I can get shit like this every now and again. But I can get shit like this every now and again because I put the work in and do things like writing rules packs and running events and coaching people through 40k games and so on, right? I pay my dues for this shit. Don't give me the abuse, man. I can't take it. I've got a thin skin, damn it. Kathmandu! Thank you for that follow. Can't believe in the southeast if you call that rent. I live in the southwest. And it's about... What am I paying rent? What do I pay rent? It's not quite 50 quid within my rent. So, yeah. I live somewhere nice. The rent for the month is about £1,000. And that's split between me and my housemate. For a 3-bedroom house. There's only 2 of us. You know, we pay for the extra for the room because we want to live somewhere nice. We've got a Warhammer table set up upstairs in what would be the living room, and the other bedroom is Ben's office / computer room, games room, area. It's like a little box room. So that's his. Downstairs is the dining room, kitchen. It's the studio. So, whereabouts you? I'm Gloucestershire. There you go. From memory, you're not a billion miles away from me, right? I'm Stroud area, basically. Castle Carry. Oh, I know the name, but I don't know where that is. My geography's terrible for stuff like that. Wincanton. Oh, fuck! Damn, there was a Wincanton about a third of a mile from where I grew up, a place called Stoke Orchard, that now looks like Chiswick, but used to look like a lovely farming village. I went back through it about, I don't know, 10 years or so ago on the motorbike. I just happened to be going that way and thought, fuck it, we'll stop and do a slight detour to go and see where I grew up, see what it's still like. And nothing like what it used to be. At all. My parents had one of the biggest houses in the village because we bought a small house, and then over the course of at least one set of summer holidays that I distinctly remember, where every day it was carry bricks from one end of the garden all the way to where my old man was building the extension. After, of course, carrying him all the way there in the first place. Then hoisting them up ladders with a rope and all that sort of shit. That was how I spent my summer holidays. To be fair, he spent his summer holidays building half a house. I still feel as a 6-year-old, I think at the time, I got it worse. But yeah, he had a big house and everything else. And when they sold up and moved out to France, they made a lot of money on the house compared to what they bought it for in the very early 80s. Like they got about 5 times the value of that house. But they did a lot of work to it. Anyway, my old house. Instead of having my old man's Land Rover parked out the front of it like it used to have, instead had a white Porsche Cayenne and a white Audi S4. Like, for fuck's sake. This used to be a nice place, and now all the white Land Rover kind of people have moved in. How dare they? Right, nearly done on this. Just got this little bit to highlight under here, which is proving to be a pain in the butt. And I hope it's not a pain in the eyeball where I jab myself in the face with this cigar box, but it's a possibility. And then we're going to repaint the base while this all cures down, because we discovered that we've got Mohawk Miniatures Coloured Tau right now. So here's the base. Just going to flush all this out of the airbrush, don't need any of that left. Let all that cure. We haven't missed any parts. So that's good. And we're going to repaint all of the white on here yellow. Fighting Feature grew up in Lincolnshire, it's the same. Went back a 20-year absence on new houses in north of £1 million mark. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, there you go. We're much further from civilization than that where I used to live. But all of the houses are about £750,000 because it's the countryside, don't you know? Except it's not the countryside anymore, because there used to be 80 people that lived in that village. Not families, people. In total. Now, there's about 250 houses. Like the farms I used to play on and help do fucking lambing season and pick eggs up off of, and orchards I used to go scrumping apples and pears and things in as a kid. All of that is now somebody's house Right, let's get rid of the glove for a bit. Because, and let's knock off the compressor actually, give that a rest for a second. There we go. Let's have one of these. Same. My secondary school, there were 8 classes of 22 to 26 kids in, and that was 1 year group. 8 divisions of that, so 200 people in a school year. At my primary school, there were 74 kids, and 11 of us weren't Jippos. And I'm aware that that is not the socially acceptable term for a new age traveller. But when you've had the shit kicked out of you 4 times a day for 7 years of your life, they're fucking Jippos. And if they want to come to my house, they're fucking welcome, because I'm a much better place to fend them off than I was when I was 7 years old, god damn it. Put them up. Oh, yes! Yes! Mahobo. No, they're not Irish. Fucking hid pikeys. This is a campsite. A fucking pikey campsite. You didn't tell me you're buying a caravan for a bunch of pikeys. This will not end well. You mark my words. Fucking hate pikeys. Right. So we've got a great base coat for white. Sorry, for yellow. Having all this white down there. Happy days. We'll leave this bit. Will we? Okay, that might be yellow. It's all going to be yellow. It's all going to be yellow. It's all yellow. Because it was all yellow. It's all yellow tape at the moment. Just be out of the way. Just stick down there or something, for fuck's sake. Not. Bastard. Does anyone know why they're called pikeys? I have absolutely no idea. Is it anything to do with the fish? That would be my initial stab in the dark guess. It's because they eat pike. Which tastes rank, by the way. They're big on eating that in like Eastern Europe. I know a couple of lads that I used to work with that would happily go fishing for pike to have for dinner. No, was not a fan. Was not a fan. What are pikeys? You need to go and watch Snatch, Salsero. Otherwise, we cannot be friends anymore. That's just the way of things. Everyone in this chat must have watched Snatch, Hot Fuzz, and Die Hard, and Predator. We'll stick to just those 4. Those 4 are essential. They're absolutely essential. A good working knowledge of things like Demolition Man, stuff like that. That's not required reading for the stream, but you know. Din Maman. Hang on, I got to see it right the other day. Din Mamin Papa. You've watched all 4? Good man. Good man. RoboCop. That could be the 5th. The original. The remakes with Joel Kinnaman isn't bad, but the original is the tits. We avoid talking about the other ones that came out in the series because they were all absolute pap. Okay, just because that bit of tape won't not cover that angle, which is annoying. Can we poke it down, or do we have to? No, we're okay. We're okay. But Jake, that's awesome. You and Sam come in. That's brilliant. Hard boiled. Ooh. Ooh, that's a film. That's a rough film as well. And French Connection. That could be a film. Pacific Rim. Pacific Rim's going to be needed to enjoy fully this weekend's festivities. Commando. Commando is a good film. Remember I said I'd kill you last? Yeah, I lied. Jenny! 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 Get to the chopper! Actually not love Arnie. Kindergarten Cop. Great film. Great film. Oh, there you go, the Dyson. Who is your daddy and what does he do? I watched it the other week. Well, no, actually, probably about 2 months or so ago now. Still good. Still good. It's a ferret! So what? Pikes you what highways are called and they live alongside it. Samondo. Man. Dropping knowledge bombs. Dropping knowledge bombs. Just want this to line up properly along here, and it's a pain in the bum. Where is he? I had to let him go. Yeah. Arnie's one-liners are brilliant. They're so good. So I read his autobiography, and it explains in there why he does it, and I fully support this, by the way. Right, we did this the other day without masking any of it around it, so we're going to do it again. We've had practice. It should be easy. Now, we want a high contrast yellow, so we're going to start with orange. We won't go with Bogan brown because we don't need to now. And what we'll do is we'll go fucking Super Saiyan yellow. Lemon yellow ink. Ooh, citrusy. And Troll Slayer orange. That's what we're going to do. Twins. Yeah, Twins is good. Stop or My Mum Will Shoot. That was absolutely horrible. Speaking of absolutely horrible. Oh shit. Give me 1 second. We're just experiencing technical difficulties, such as the compressor won't turn on. We might have to do that another time. I'm hoping that's just got a little bit warm, so that's a first. Or maybe it's just come unplugged a little bit. Right, give me 1 moment. So, in quite concerning news, I hope the compressor's fine. I maybe just need to change a fuse. So we'll try doing that off stream, and hopefully the compressor is still good. If not, I'll have to use my old compressor all weekend. But that's a pain. Okay, so we're not airbrushing that then. Fuck. Fuckity fuck. Instead, we'll do the reveal on all of this, which is actually slightly more exciting. Do you reckon that thing has been bulletproof for like 3 years, two years? Peckish, thank you very much for that sub, dude. 11 months, man. That's solid. Right, let me push everything else back and stop trapping my headphone cord with the bin I just moved, just to try a different plug in case it was a house electrics issue. Yeah, hopefully that's still okay. We'll give it a good clean. We'll change the fuse just in case it's that. Let it have a rest. And for now, let's do all of this, because this is the fun part of masking. Sarah, how you doing? You came in just at the point where the compressor stopped working. It was working fine, so we turned it off. And then when we turned it back on, it didn't turn back on. So yeah, that's not making me sweat at all. Considering this weekend we're painting the entire character set for Indomitus. I really would rather do that with an airbrush than without. You hold it, Garrett. Fuck no. So here we're applying paint at 123 psi. Kapow! He didn't need his sword, I guess. You know. Could be a switch. It could be a switch. It could just be that little switch there. So if we have to pull this fucking thing apart tomorrow when I'm working on my lunch break, then that's what we'll do. This is by far the most satisfying part of doing airbrushing, though, is stuff like this. So you've seen the Mini with all of this cack on top of it. Now we get to do the fun part and just get that perfect edge. No bleed down the sides, we're good. Nice little purple detail there. Let's get rid of all this blue tack because that looks horrible. Toothpick, and then use the tack. Remove the rest of that. God, I hope I can fix that fucking thing. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah! This is so much fun. It's a regular amount, it's fine. It's set at a constant 30 psi. Yeah, I know. I remember you saying so it doesn't make the horrid racket. I think buying another one of those, or buying one of those, is probably going to be actually more expensive than buying another airbrush compressor, though. So Jake, I realised something earlier on, and you weren't here, unfortunately, I don't think, that the colour scheme I've chosen for my Tau looks a little bit like this. And I got about halfway through this stream before I realised that that was actually the case. And that's why we were going to paint the base yellow. Because we've got red and yellow bases next to blue and purple Tau. George, how you doing? Cell Virus, peace out, man. Take it easy. Right, this one is absolutely covered in this tape. So let's just remove it from the pin. And very carefully avoid touching the purple. Because we don't want to scrape any of that if we can help it. So just going to touch the blue at both ends. And the blue has had a good varnish. We varnished it yesterday on the Household stream, I think. Yeah, it would have been just before we started doing the masking on the rest of this. So the blue we can touch, no issues. So as long as we can expose the top and bottom of this, we're okay to hold it by that. There you go. This mean the head's yellow and red? No, the head is blue. No, the Tau suit. So my Tau cadre will be blue and pink, and their bases I was going to do originally as Farsight Enclaves. And I wanted my Tau to have been sort of assaulting the Farsight guys and basically breaking their shit. And then when we realised that the colours we painted this guy were basically the colours of the logo, I thought, you know what would be just better is if we just did red and yellow on the bases. And then, wrong implement. And then I've got a complete Mohawkminiatures styled Tau army, or I will have at some point. This for your new Tau shit. It is definitely my new Tau. Of which, you know, we're only really going to paint probably this one dude this year, and then maybe another one another year, and it will take forever. But yes. Hey, look at that. Look at that, so clean. So clean. Come on, get off your finger. That, and they look a little bit like Decepticons as well, which is totally cool. Was watching Transformers movies while putting this guy together. How do you get the masking that tight? Do you put it on and cut it away? For that, yes, definitely. And for a few other areas on the Mini, it's definitely a case of just sort of put it in and cut it off. Like for this sort of step, for instance, the little purple lines we've got in there. Normally what I do is a double-ended fold, but I only managed to get it on one side here. So you know how when you buy like a loaf of bread, you get those little tags that are sticky apart from the end bit? I normally make those, but it was super fiddly to get this done. So we've only done it on one side to reduce the amount of stick. So we've done it this side, for instance, so that's easier to separate because of it than it was to do that part. Yeah, nice little pink stripe in his backpack. And then this one, super pink! Silly question, if you tried a different socket for your compressor? Yes, that was the first thing I tried, actually. Like I said, I didn't know if it was house electrics or whether it was the compressor. And so we've tried a different socket entirely. That did not work. As a result, I'm hoping just a fuse, perhaps. If not the fuse, maybe something is just loose inside that's around the switch we can hopefully fix. If not, then let's see what airbrush compressors are on Amazon Prime, baby. Yeah. Because I need it by the weekend, and ideally by Thursday, to do the stream on how to paint Necrons. This is why Ben's got my compressor on permanent loan, though, to be fair, so it's always a chance we get it. First ever miniature. Awesome. Digital Riot, painting an Ultramarine. Nothing wrong with that, man. Oh dear, Maladeus, I think it's you after that horrible joke. Okay, so we got a little overspray on the blue right here, unfortunately. That's a shame, but we can glaze that in. That's not an issue. But yes, Commander Starscream looking good right now. No. Yes, maybe. Maybe not. No, because it's attached to that bit. Alright. Get shot of this bit. Hopefully, this bit, this is the one I was worried most about on this edge, and that's come out quite tidily along there. But all of this was masking for one tiny bit of purple right there. That was it. That was all we were going to put on that arm, was that little bit of purple. So that's all of those bits taken off, all the masking tape. So we've got body. We can put the brightness back to a semblance of normal now. There you go. So you can see you've got nice vivid pink in there. Looking cool. So what we're going to do, very quickly, is test the stick, dry it, and then put it together. Then do some assembly. So we need to varnish where that purple's gone down, because that's so thin. Now, as always, use this outdoors with ventilation. Wear a mask. It's pongy. It's horrible. It melts paint. Probably melting my insides. So please use protection. Blech. Pong. Painted my Mortarion in black armor with corroded gold trim. What do you think a good contrast colour would be for the robes? Something bright. So if you're doing black, then red's an obvious one. It jumps out. You can highlight that to orange, which would help complement the gold, so it doesn't look too far out of the realms of possibility of being there. But equally is its own definite thing. I would avoid doing anything that is obnoxiously bright. So I wouldn't go into like bright greens and stuff like that at all. I'd leave that side of the colour spectrum well alone. Yeah. So, George says, do we paint some Imperial Fist soon? At least on your base, you need to make some casualties for his epic work. Nice. Nice. Right, let's give that a minute or two, just calm down, then we'll get the old hairdryer on it. Oh, that fucking beautiful sweet sound. God almighty, just arrived in my pants. It's like a deleted scene from Hancock, shotgun through the ceiling. Wow. So that's getting thoroughly cleaned tomorrow. And we'll do this base while we wait for that to cure. My God, I've literally just had a little sex wee at the noise of that. That's horrendous and an overshare, but also I'm not 170 quid worse off. Clean up in aisle 7. Sploosh. Fired right back up again in that second. Whew. Just past 100 followers on Insta in just over a week. Well, chuffed. George, link your Insta. Everyone, go and give George another 2 or 3 followers, because most of the chat probably follows you. I was very surprised the other day to see that I'd reached something like 4.6k. When did that happen? I remember Matt in the chat trying to get me to 2,000 followers at one point. I was at 1.8, he was trying to get me to 2k. So where did all this come from? I love you, little compressor. Oh, God. I didn't mean all those horrible things I said when we were off air ever so slightly earlier on. Right. Orange. Gonna need several passes on this to make sure that we get a good strong orange for our like shadow, essentially the darker parts. We get a nice transition coming off of it, and we're going to be transitioning this up into using some lemon yellow ink, which is going to be extremely bright yellow. Oh God, I'm so glad this is working. You have no idea the sense of relief. Trying to avoid hitting this bit of rock, but equally I wanted to get to this area just here, which unfortunately got missed when we started laying the white down the other day. At 65, and that still makes you think, what the fuck? Learn to hashtag. That's the thing there, is learn to hashtag. So my phone's got amazing predictive text that remembers sentences that you type frequently. So it's prone to just randomly putting out, if I've used the word you in a sentence, the following words, both fucking and idiot. It suggests those quite a lot. So you've got to bear that in mind. You need to be careful quickly sending a text to your mum. Not a mistake to make. But it does mean that whenever I'm putting up an Instagram post, it remembers all the hashtags that I've used in that sequence. So you just like put the first few in and then just spam the button, because you know it's miniatures commission painting Warhammer, painting Warhammer 40,000, blah 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 blah. So yeah, it's one of those. Yeah, George, it really does help. Speeds things up. And here's a shout out for Liam, brother from another mother, all that. Hashtag DZTV at the end of your posts, because he's going to start sharing some stuff from the DZTV community at some point soon. So I've been putting on all mine, mostly because he asked me to. Well, I suppose he didn't ask me to. He said, oh, by the way, if you do this, I'm going to share some of your work, because we're trying to do a community sort of push on painting and stuff, and you're part of the community. It'd be great to see your work being shared. So there you are, guys. Get that on there. Get your Studio J7 hashtag on there as well if you want. You can get your work shared on Studio Stream. I always feel really guilty about doing stuff like that, so I don't. Because that's his stream for him to promote his community, not for him to promote me over here. So, you know. Oh, hello, we've got a little bit of overspray there, I'll say. A little bit too much paint on that surface, too flat. So guys, quick reminder, this weekend, obviously, Indomitus launch weekend, we are of course going to be painting the Judicia in Ultramarines colours, the Scorpec Lord in the colours of Gypsy Danger from Pacific Rim, raffling those off, and the winner will receive not just that mini, but also the rest of that faction completely free, brand new on spring. If you can get stuff posted daily on Instagram, then that really helps out their algorithms. So I try to post every day, but it's still days I don't. Warhammer community shares a lot of stuff. It's really good. My mate Pete, who is my social media manager, has been on their hobby roundup before now, and also had his work featured on their website. He's a good painter. He still sits there like, how is my stuff being featured and yours isn't? And I can tell you exactly why my stuff will never be featured on the Warhammer community website and so on. They know I'm a commissioned painter. That's that. So, no, it's not happening. Right, lemon yellow. Mixed in a little bit with that Trollslet orange. I'm just going to start building this up as a transition. The next coat will be just lemon yellow. It's going to be super, super bright against this. Let's, as we're working so bright, just knock the exposure down a touch. Why have you got to press that twice? There you go, so you guys can actually see the highlights that we've got going on. Do they? Ah, fair enough then. Maybe they just don't like me. That wouldn't surprise me. I do promote a lot of other people's paints and things, so that genuinely wouldn't surprise me if some of that was the reason. Right, I have to be really, really careful with this because this is becoming super easy to push paint around that's not quite dry. So you need to be very careful with when using an ink. That's very likely to happen. So just build this up. We'll probably grab the hairdryer in a tick and just give this a little go over with that, dry some of this down, get a second pass in quickly. I was hoping to have this guy assembled today, but that's not looking like it's going to happen. We will still do a whip, but it will be a quick whip. I want to get this base finished, and then off stream I can do the assembly get a good picture of him up in time for next time we do a stream with the Tau Commander. Because Thursday, the plan is to take a new Necron toy soldier, one of the new Necrons, and do a tutorial video on how to paint him like one of the Necrons. Quickly as well. 45 minutes this guy took. So, you know. And we've done another one. This is what I did on the private painting lesson. Did a couple of these little ghost arc dudes. So, Thursday, probably painting next one. Datsun's dog. Mate, too generous, man. Even the pooch is loving it. I am waiting to eventually collect the entire Datsun family, though. So, like, Lady Datsun, Datsun's mum. We won't say Daddy Datsun, because just in case you're like, I already do. Joey! I'm doing well, man. You hate Necrons because it's just, like, oversaturated? I understand that. But, you know, it's popular, right? I let it be up to the community whether we paint that guy on Thursday or not. So if you don't want to see me paint Necron, go to my Instagram, go to the story in there, and say no! No Necron for you. But I'm doing great, mate. Honestly, living a dream. Now that the compressor's working, we're living the actual dream. That did actually worry me quite substantially. I totally get it, man. Honestly, it's all good. No need to explain, brother. Technically, that was Datsun's mum. It's her brilliant. Brilliant. Hi, Mummy Datsun. Mummy Dares. That's what we got there. Mummy Dares. Right, lemon yellow. This is a hell of a yellow, right? Do you know anything about GW Citadel paints? You got a question? Yeah, absolutely, man. I know plenty about it. I mean, depends on what you're about to ask. If this is something really obscure, then, well, that's on you. But ask away. See, Death of Hope was good, but it didn't tick all my boxes. But Astartes, that's my jam. That is totally my jam. Big difference, Joey, between painting a lot of metallics and like flat armor surfaces and painting something organic. That's rough. It's hard to do, especially after a long break. I'm looking forward to the Warhammer animation stuff, though. The animation studio and all that. Some of that stuff looks sick. So sick. Genna's Gold and Balthasar Gold. Which one should I use for Shoulders Gold? I think all GW metallics are shit, with like one exception, which is the Retributor armor, which is a gold color. Sorry, brother. I cannot back the GW metallics. I use a lot of their own pigments. You know, here's a couple we've got just on the desk that we've used this evening, right? But for metallics, especially their golds, mediocre. Best gold, scale 75. or Vallejo Mecha Color, which is allegedly even better, though I haven't used it myself. But scale 75 is absolutely where you want to be for that. So we're lightly dusting this on. When we get to a solid yellow, which I'm hoping we can do with just the ink, because it's got really good coverage, being an ink. But at the same time, keep it nice and full of life. So GW are really, really good at kind of getting people to sort of buy into their store, and I support their business model. Like I said earlier on, when we were talking about 40k and buying that chapter approves, I love 40k. I am quite happy to spend money and support the company in buying new things to allow them to continue their innovation and continue to exist as a company. Just try them both out is the best advice I can give you. The ones that you've got, try them out on something that is somewhat out the way, so you can test them both before making your decision. But once you've used those golds, once you've finished off some gold, or if you feel you need a different kind of gold for something at some point, check out Scale 75. If you live in the UK or even in Europe, do !element in the chat, where you can get hold of pretty much every single manufacturer's paint range that's commercially available. So obviously your Monument Hobbies, Pro Acryl stuff, they won't stock that. Not yet, at least. At least at some point they probably will, because if Jason keeps building his business the way he has been and keeps expanding his lines and pushing that quality like he does, then I'm sure he'll get picked up by some major stockists like that. Dexter, thank you very much for that follow, dude. Welcome. But Scale 75 are truly some of the best metallics you will find. For gold, that is pretty much all I use. I use a couple of the Vallejo Air metals, mostly for silvers. Though Scale 75 do a silver called Speed Metal, which is amazing. It's almost metallic white. So good. So good. If you're doing true metallic metal, that's not necessarily a must-have, but it's this makes your life easier. Alright, what we will do this evening is we'll put the Tau dude on the base. We won't do his arms and such. We'll just get the guy on the base, so we can see all of the Mohawk Tau, all those colours coming together all at once. And then we'll do all the tidy up bits another night. Right, there we go. So turn the compressor off in the hope that it turns back on at some point, so I can clean my airbrush later on. But let's get all this out. Hopefully there's not too much spider webbing underneath. Oh, we've got a little bit of white just showing through there, but that's okay. Look at that line. Oh, it's just arousing. A few bits to tidy up. When we do our highlights and we do our shades, we can pick those up though. I just torn the tape, never mind. So no real overspray, nothing crazy at least. To be fair, yellow over red just highlights the red, so that's not the end of the world anyway. Oh, look at that yellow. Look at that yellow! Have you gone traditional Tau? No. 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 So far, no. We don't really play by the rules over here. We make up our own rules. Have I got black metal? Yes, I have, yeah. Black gold, I've got. Oh wait, no, black metal. No, I haven't got black metal. Tibble's Evil Cat. That is a brilliant name. I love that name. You're amazing. Welcome to the stream. Right, that's the pilot hole we drilled. Yes. So, let's take Commander Starscream, as he is now going to be entitled, and let's carefully remove him from these paper clips. We might just ship him off for that one, actually. And then we'll cut this one right down here for now. The reason for that is we've got a big hole drilled in the base. Just here for that to slot into. Well, it looks like we somehow managed to nose that up, which is irritating. So, what we'll do instead is grab some pliers. I'm not sure how I did that, since I drilled through the base into the Tau mans to get that in place, that pin. But we'll find another way. That's what we've got. So this is how our Tau army will look. That is fucking cool. That just is cool. I'm super, super happy with that. It's 1984 again. Never stop being 1984. That's quality. I love the brightness of those colours. The fact that it is Mohawkminiatures Tau. Oh, he's not doing a superhero landing. No, he's doing the pose from... Ah, Saragon! Mate! Thank you very much. Please don't fall over. Just chill out. Just help aid gravity by turning that slightly. Ta-da! Do that with a GW hobby holder. Love that. Fucking love that. Thank you for that cheer, man. That was super, super nice of you. So, we're going to do the whip. We are 5 minutes late from finishing the stream, so we're going to rattle through the whip a little bit more than usual. So, exclamation point Discord if you'd like to go and put your stuff in the Discord work in progress gallery, so that we can then look at it as a community, see what you folk are up to. Or Chris, that was before the stream. I don't know if you're still here, but we don't do stuff before the stream. But because I love him and Orchrist, here's his typhus. Ta-da! Orchrist is a great Canadian. Just gonna throw that one out there. And a great streamer. He's definitely someone you should all follow. But look at this guy. Typhus is amazing. I love Typhus. He might regret gluing those swarms on though. Because they're an absolute motherfucker to paint. So, Maladeus, I see you in the chat. I see your minis. Got a marine, we've got a butt shot. Have we got the front shot? We've got the front shot. Okay, here we go. So, first bit of feedback for you is that your paint looks a little thick. If you look at the face, look at the shoulder pad, and to some extent the bolt gun he's carrying as well, it looks at the paint that you've applied itself is a little bit on the thick side. You put some comments at the bottom below. My buddy and I are finally able to paint together again. Here, a few projects to go. Oh, okay, sweet. So is this you or was this your buddy? Who did the Marine? Des, superstar, thank you. More down. Okay, well, we get to that in a bit. I don't want to skip over people's toys. But I would just look at, whoever painted the Marine, just look at thinning their paint a little bit more and do several smooth coats. I'm actually not hating the blue highlights that you've got going on the red. That's different. I like it. I think if you refine that a little bit, then you'd end up with something that looked really, really special. It's good. We've got... Oh, holy shit. This is a Wraith, but it's not just any Wraith. This is the, if you sneeze near it, it will possibly disassemble itself, metal Wraith. Nice, nice. Got some of that Hex Wraith Flame, I guess this one's called, going on these ghostly scarabs. Not bad. Not bad. I'm not the hugest fan of these kind of paints, but I like what's going on here, mate. It's good. Solid. I am Alfarius. There's that Shrike. Did you change the head? No. No, I don't think so. Nice, dude. I really like this guy. I think he's a quality toy soldier. Like, really, really nice model. I'm gutted I didn't get to paint the whole thing. We just painted the claws and we painted his gun for a Custodes Eversor Assassin conversion. It was cool. Oh, here we go. More from Maladeus. We normally try and do just 3 picks per person, but it's okay. That means I'm going for Rusted Metal with some Iron Warriors, Loyalist Bits, so I'm still trying to figure it out. Kron's a Ghost, Kron's Chaos Warriors the same. I'm a yellow dude's posted a while ago, kind of inverted colours on these ones. Lego Boys, my mate's work, he's got a leg up on me with skills and experience. Please tell me some tips on how to do hazard stripes and Marines. Tried so far, it's shite. Okay. We'll go back to your Marine. Is it knee pad, right? Okay. So, first things first. You need a strong yellow. You just do. Otherwise your hazard stripe doesn't have its punch that you really want it to have. So if you paint the entirety of the base an ochre, not the base, entirety of the base of the thing that you're painting an ochre colour. So I don't know what Vallejo calls theirs, but I use Bogan Brown from P3. Okay, find something like that. Get 2 coats of that down, nice and thin though. Going to be putting a lot over the top of it. And then paint the whole thing yellow and work that highlight up from that Bogan Brown ochre colour up to bright yellow mixed in with a natural bone colour. So I use Menoth White Highlight from P3, some sort of ivory, I guess, from Vallejo. They tend to call their stuff things like that. Once you've done that, then paint in the black lines. And you just got to have a steady hand. Instead of trying to paint a diagonal line, turn the mini so that he's at an angle and paint straight down. Now once you've painted the lines on, just the outsides, fill them in. To do thin lines and then paint in the middle. Don't try painting the thick line because you'll end up with one that's like this and the next one that's like this and the next one that's like this, and it's hard to do it that way. To paint some thin lines and then just fill in the inside of each other one, every other one. I do a lot of hazard stripes. I love hazard stripes in general. I mean, look at the overlay and stuff. Hazard stripes for life. Let's look at the Chaos Dude quick. I do think I remember the other ones you did, the yellow ones. Actually, yeah. Nice. I'm not sure which I preferred out of the 2. This guy's solid. You've got your good shades in there. You've got some highlights going on. This is totally good. Obviously, instead of whip, there's going to be a lot more colour coming out of him. He's a little bit glossy. I'm not sure if that's been done by design but careful doing stuff like that too much, because if you gloss something, then you get a lot of natural highlights given by the atmosphere it's in. So in a brightly lit room, it's luminous, and it just needs to be sort of taken into account when you do your highlights, so it can look very much out of sync. If you want it wet and slightly gross, then I would probably concentrate less on doing a gloss and more on applying some like streaking grime and weathering, and make those areas glossy rather than the entire thing. It's just my way. And we'll look at everyone that's in here, mate. Don't you worry. Sons of Rolo, it's the easy build when it felt like a difference. This is the best primer. Still a lot to do in it, as I'm still struggling with my brush control and doing edge heights. Need some varnish in the arm panels. It's like the primer hasn't keyed in to rub off easily. Did you shake the ever-living bejesus out of your primer? Because if you didn't, all you've done is prime your mini with the medium from that, and that's not going to work. If you did, then chuck in a couple of ball bearings or a marble and do the same thing. Just shake it to pieces. Because your primer shouldn't rub off. And neither should the paint that it's on. I can't see any signs of it rubbing off there. I assume you mean that the primer is rubbing off, leaving bare plastic, not the stuff that you've put on top of the primer is rubbing off, leaving the primer. Because it will through your airbrush, it just will. Like I varnished this, the purple, because I'll show you. If we go back to this, so those two scratches right up here, I barely touched that, getting the blue tack off. Right? The airbrush paint is super thin, so you have to be careful with it. So if it's just that you're getting that's falling off, the paint that you applied on top of the primer, it is what it is. But I like what you've done. Your shading's nice. You've got some really gradual blends in there, which I really like. Got some nice edge highlights. So you're doing well. I'd probably still amp up the contrast. So I'd have made the darker shades still a little bit more prevalent and go from there. But hey, yeah, the paint agitator thing that you. I've got two of these. We just shake the paint. Right, Chimo. Finish the Blackstone Fortress. Client is going to replace the base with transparent ones. Oh, okay. That's one way of doing it. Nice though, man. My favourite was the robot. I loved him. And a little hobbit dude with a fridge on his back. He was amazing. Nice work though, dude. The client does know that the minis are on slotted bases though, right? And he's going to have to clip those off. And there are definitely parts of this job that are not going to react well to that, such as those spindle drones. So I hope he's careful. Test base for Silver Tower. Oh, cute. Nice. This is the Warhammer Quest version. In Donator's box, now with paint slapped on it, done for the local shop. They were allowed to get Space Wolves? Damn, it's normally always like Ultramarines. The Priest. He was cool. The big fat priest. I liked him, but definitely the robot was my favourite. I like your captain dude in the middle. He looks sick. The Judicia, obviously, awesome mini. Chaplain, great job. Surprised they let you go Space Wolves though, because normally, like I said, it's Ultramarines and that's it. Right, here's George. He's got A one-handed pirate? What's the deal with a hand by the shield? This is one of the ogre pirates, right? From Sigma. Well, fantasy, I guess. But converted ogre and bodyguard. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Nice, dude. Not a bad job at all, mate. Yeah, good work. The yellow on the base is a little... It's not particularly bright, and I imagine you want to keep it that way. What you could do, though, is just darken down some of the recesses there a little bit further. So on that, like, there's a little square in the middle. You just ring the inside of that square with a little bit of a wash, and just to darken that down. And that way the yellow will look a bit more bright, just because the shadows are darker. Space Force and Manager's Choice will contrast cool with a red necromancy paint. Nice. Nice. Got 6 tanks on the table tonight. 5. Damn, or Chris, you're a busy boy. Busy boy. Right, Chimo. Pink army equals best army, he says. These are good. I love the Fanatics. I think they're one of the greatest things. I really, really like that parasol you've got going on with the peach blossom. Peach? Not peach. Cherry blossom. Yeah, like I said, George, you probably don't want it to be bright, right? But there's a difference. Oh, it's going to sound super harsh. Is there a better way I can say this? Okay, right, here we go. It's very difficult and requires a lot of thought to paint something that looks like it's been through the shit without painting it looking like shit. So you can slap paint on something and go, oh, it's battle damage, look at how much the paint's chipped off, and people are looking at it going, no, you've just not applied a coat of paint. Or you can carefully apply many coats of paint and then create this battle damage, create this wonderful effect, and people go, damn, that thing's been through the shit. You've got to balance those two. Your yellow that you had in there looked a little bit more like, I'm just going to get this on the mini and I don't care about it, than this is, at one point, something that was brand new, that over many years of abuse has now become looking a bit shit. So, accurate wear and tear is art, yeah. I mean, it really is. It's a tough thing to do until you've learnt a few tricks, in which case it becomes super easy. Chimo, you are not wrong. Pink and teal, he says. I mean, I'm loving that. Looks down. Yeah. This is cool, though. I have no idea what we're looking at, but it is cool. I had a funny feeling it was dry brush, mate. I wasn't going to call you out on it, though. It looked too thick. Love that. Greg, link the picture rather than your Instagram. Okay, we'll actually have a bit of a chat about this. So OSL is a technique where you take part of the mini and you create the illusion that that part of the mini is influencing another part of it with a light. So in this case, you can see it's a glowing green ball. Now, I know you've seen this. You've seen my candle on the table diagram where we have spheres of light. And the furthest sphere away from the candle is the darkest that light gets. It's just fading into nothingness, right? And as you get closer and closer in, that sphere is brighter and brighter areas of light. Now, it's not circles of. We're not doing cell shading. But it's a nice way of gradually explaining where something comes from in terms of its brightness in relation to the object that's creating that light source. What you've got is a strong attempt at creating object source lighting. You have a bright green, and that green is casting its light onto from that onto other planes of the Mini. And they've all been reflected from that source. So if you look at it, if you look at his face, for instance, you've got that collar that just sits around it. The top of that collar, which is sort of parallel to the line of the light, has no green on it, but his cheek does. Good job. But the brightest part of this has to be the orb, right? He's holding that out in his arm. This bit is where the light is. And so the next brightest bit will be the bit that's closest to it, which in this case is arm. Nailed it. Then everything else, by a order of like distance relative to the object, will be less and less and less illuminated. So the hitty stick he's got should not be glowing as bright a green as his wrist, and neither should his calf on his right leg. Let's go back this way. Also, he's holding that outstretched in his arm, and that emits light in a 360 by 360 set of axes, right? So there'd be parts there that would catch that light, and none of those parts do. I know it's not directly out to the side, it's a little bit to the front, but there'd still be parts there that catch that light. Got to be careful of that. So look at it from here. You've got elements of all of that line through the Mini, and you could have done a little bit more touching that cape. But the worst thing, I'm holding this orb in my arm. Light moves in straight lines, so anything that is between the light and another part of the Mini, anything that gets in that way, provides a shadow and not a light. Right? So his leg would have a shadow on it. And this is where OSL gets fucking hard. This is not easy. There is a beautiful piece of artwork that's won a few awards. It's a troll-looking thing, and all it is a troll's face and shoulders. That's all you see. There's a line of light that illuminates one of its eyes, and this thing looks like it's peeking through a set of doors that are just open, right? None of that's in the frame. That's not even part of the Mini. It's just a bust. And the artist has done an amazing job of light and shadow. And that's the bit you're missing here. You've got light, and so far you've got light that hits everything in an almost equal fashion. You don't have shadow, and that's harder to do. We talk about it a lot when we do OSL here. Getting your shadows in, getting your highlights laid down afterwards. That's the bit that really, really sells it. Now, I know I've just pulled this to pieces. I do not want you to be discouraged. Discouraged. Because object source lighting is a very advanced painting technique. There are people that do this to a degree where it looks as if it's real. I'm not one of them. And I will never be, because my style is that comic book-esque look. But even at that point, you still have to obey the rules of light, because what you're doing isn't making one part of the Mini glow There's no actual light being emitted by any part of this. You are selling your audience on the illusion that there is light. And you've got to trick somebody's brain into thinking that. So you have to follow the rules of how light interacts with its surrounding area. And it's hard. So keep going, man. Keep doing what you're doing. It's a great start. Just think about it in terms of those spheres of influence that the light has. And I think that'll be a really good help. And next time, post the pictures here, not your Instagram link. Digital Riot 28, painting an ultramarine. I know it's my first. The paint isn't thin enough. I'm still going for it. If you have tricks and tips, I'm more than welcome to hear. Okay, cool. Alright, what you've done so far is paint a blue bit, a black bit, and possibly a silver bit. So now you're looking into your next steps. You've clearly left some recesses here, which is good. So there's two ways of painting, right? You can either paint your base colors over the surface and then go back in and paint in the recesses. Or you can do what it looks like you've done here, where you've applied your undercoat and now you're just painting the base layers in the areas where they would be. It takes a little bit longer to get the base colors down, but obviously you're then skipping the step of having to recess shade it. So it can even out completely in the end and actually save you time if you do it right. So your next steps are to get the rest of the details blocked in. So he's got a chest eagle, he's got eyes, he's got a face mask with like tubes and stuff going on. You've got those details in the bolt, you've got holsters, you've got all these other things to do, and that's what I'd like you to focus on. I don't want you to worry about the interplay of light and shadow as the sunlight of a dying star hits his helmet. None of that shit. That's further down the line. What I want you to think about is getting your brush control as you hit the rest of these details. So you have a perfectly smooth base coat on every part of the mini, and every part of the mini that needs to be a different color has that other color. Just worry about that for now. Once you've got that down, once you've got your brush control sorted out, then we'll start talking to you about highlights, talking about shadows, start talking to you about color theory and all the magical shit that brings. I love color theory. That's why all my shit looks cool. Like the amble that was there, blue, orange, and yellow. Nailed it. That, bright yellow, black, orange, and blue. Red and black, with gold and blue. Color theory tells you what choices to make as long as you understand it. But you've got to, it's a concept you've got to really embrace. It takes a while to learn. So for now, just do your base coats. Get that nailed down. We'll go from there afterwards. Cero, the orc colour is my wife's one. So much to assemble. Ugh, not in the photo. The Met guns. How many boys? Probably around 20 to 25 boys. Cool, that's nearly one unit. Nearly one unit. Cool, your missus has done a good job. It's a bit dark in places. But base coats. It's all good. Nice. Getting them knobs. Mega Armors knobs, I think. Yeah, going on. Good stuff. Sith. These are not Games Workshop copied IP, so we'll allow these. I like them, mate. Nice little statues. Very reminiscent of early Rogue Trader Marines. Those Crusade Marines as well. Got that shoulder pad going in there. Mark III armor. They're cool. Nice paint job as well, mate. Digging the weathering. And Sergeant Creed. Alright, that's cool. That's cool. Nice to see the Cat Chance getting some love. That's banging. Very nice, mate. Right, Saragon. The blue and teal really isn't working for me. It just looks like I ran out of paint. Rest of my army is primarily blue and teal, blue/teal and grey/white. They don't just copy a scheme I'm using on my crisis suits. Would like to know what I can do about those colours, and also general advice, because I think the broadside is okay, but not good. Okay. This is the old metal one, isn't it? But with all of the options. To be honest, mate, your paint scheme is fine in terms of what you've painted it. But it goes back to the usual advice that I give, which is you need to increase your levels of contrast. So your paint scheme and mine are relatively similar, right? If we flick back to this. Where they differ though is, look just up here. We've got a nice dark blue. And then next to that we've got light blue. And if we keep sort of going around the mini, you'll find lots of elements of dark blue, light blue, dark blue, light blue, dark blue. And then we get to the pink where it's purple, bright ass pink. And on the base we've got dark red, bright red, dark orange, yellow, and stuff like that. That's the thing that creates interest and creates that, like, I want to know more. I want to look at this mini and find all its little secrets. And that's not easy. I know I make it sound easy, and I'd like to think I make it occasionally look easy. Certainly I don't find it much of a challenge. But that's because I've done this for years. And I paint more hours a week than most people do with their job as their normal job. You know, I have a full-time job painting on top of my full-time job at the office. And so I have the hours put in, invested to get to that level, right? The way to move from this to that without an airbrush is to start making up some glazes. So make up some mid-tone blue to dark blue glazes and just gently start bringing those in to create areas of contrast on the flat armor panels. And that takes time, man, it does, but it's worth it. You'll get a finished product at the end that will be amazing. And then once you've done that and you've got your shadows in, then start working on your highlights. So just keep bringing up those edges, get them nice and bright. Make sure your highlights either are there because they make sense to be there, or they make the model look cooler by being there. Don't do the boxes that Games Workshop do. We don't do that. Just know. But that's the way. That's what I would do next. I like what you've done. Genuinely, I do. You just need to create those other areas of interest which you get by getting a dark color and a light color and getting them to make friends. Sith. I trust this is not one that's being 3D printed. It is Father Christmas on its sleigh. I've always loved this mini. It's so ridiculous and over the top. It's great. Dude, no problem, man. Thanks for putting your mini in the whip. Skipped one? Oh, that snuck in. Crown Blades Experiment. I said this earlier on, I'm not really a fan of the Hex-Wraithy ghost paints. It comes back to contrast again. They never have enough, like, oomph coming out of them. But you can't do that with one pot of watery paint. You just can't. So this isn't for me. That's all. Like you've done it, and you know everything's tidy. Your base scheme matches it quite well. It's got that kind of deserted graveyard temple mausoleum thing going on for it. I really like that. And I like the splashes of colour that you've got in there with your swords. You know, all of that is great. But it's not my bag. I've seen loads of stuff like this, and it's never done it for me. The only suggestion I've got, if you want to do an army like this, is maybe start introducing contrast through like rattle cannons. If you don't have an airbrush, so do the undercoat black and then do a zenith from a white spray can and just get that built up. So then when you apply this, there's at least darker areas and lighter areas, so you're bringing that contrast in. That's about all I've got for this kind of thing, I'm afraid, there, mate. Sorry, dude. It's just not my style. Like I said, everything's tidy, everything's neat. You've done a good job of it. It's just not for me. Sarah, what scheme would you paint it? Don't know. I haven't really thought about painting the ghosts, but I really like rich greys, the blue and the red. Because he's got massively contrasting colours right there, and it creates that interest in that, like, oh, I want to look at this thing. Can't be doing with anything. A lot of minis lack that, and that's the majority of advice I give when we're doing the whip, is bump your contrast, go higher with your highlights, go darker with your shadows. Because that's my style of painting. And that's the advice you're going to get from me, is how to paint my way. I'm not going to tell you how to do super realistic, like scale modeling techniques, because I have no idea what I'm talking about with that. But you will always at least get the honest opinion out of me. Thank you for submitting it to the whip, though. Honestly, mate, I appreciate it. I had a picture of Santa's sleigh. That's almost enough skulls for a 40k mini. It's close. We'll let you off this time. And then finally, Digital Riot update on the gun and back. Oops, they're a bit blurry. All right. Yeah, you started getting the details in there, man. We're doing this one and that's it. So if anyone submits one after this, I need sleep. I just do. Like, I'm done. Sorry. But yeah, getting those colours blocked in, mate. Just keep going, keep doing what you're doing. Get everything else blocked in nice and neatly. Get all the details down. Don't forget the fingers of his hand holding the gun, because they look black from here. I think you might have missed them. Raid time. We'll just pass the raid on, man. Rutang, I didn't know you were there. You should say hello. How you doing, mate? You want the black? All right. Henki King. This is cool. Nice bit of freehand. Painting the 2 I did on Samael's mate was harder than painting the fucking raven wing symbol we did on the other shoulder pad. That was rough. But I like what you're doing. Nice green. There's definitely some shadow there. You can see that transition building up. Good base scheme. Helps offset against the green. You could go higher with your highlights. So mix a little bit of yellow into whatever green it is you're using. Just a little, because it will really start to electrify it. And then just get some of those edges. Not all of them. Don't draw boxes. Don't do that. Just hit some of the edges. Milo! Oh, it's you! Dude! Get some highlights down. Dragon face. That's a tough one to do. You need, you need to find a way of enhancing the shape of the face on the face. Dyson. No. Bad Dyson. No more whips. Because what you've got the shape, you've got the outline, and you've obviously got the eye, but you'll need to find a way of just teasing out a little bit more detail inside that. So maybe use a dark grey, I wouldn't want to just use black lines. Not sure on that one. That's tough. That's tough. These are colourful. We got red, green, purple, blue, yellow, silver. It's like a pixie's been stabbed to death by a unicorn. It's just... Rutang, you don't need to do that, but thank you very much. And Milo, enjoy that sub. These are a hell of a colour scheme, man. There's a lot going on with them. And I worry that you've gone ever so slightly too far with the amount of colours you're putting down. Let's see. On this dude, currently we've got 5 colours that we've basically used. We've got black that we've highlighted up with grey, blue, purple, red, and orangey yellow. And we've got 4 completely separate contrast sets in there. So blue and pink, offset. Blue and orange, offset. Blue and red, offset. And then, actually, shit, we've got pink and orange, they offset, because that's basically purple. So you've got 5. 5 complete opposite pairings of colour. But it all still looks kind of coherent. Mostly because it's a larger mini. That helps a lot, right? We've got bigger areas of stuff. What you've got here, from a distance, so if the mini's that tall to me now, we're probably about twice the size that the mini would be. We've got nice red armor, nice green cloak on the X-Arc dude, the helmet, the shoulder pads, digging it, they look cool. The white that's on that's cool too. And even the yellow is fine, but the purple then starts to break away because that contrasts against the yellow and the green and is dark enough that it contrasts against the bright red. It also, because it's dark enough, contrasts against the white. So the purple jumps out at you too much from everything else. And then you've got these dark blue gems on there as well. And then you've got all of that, which is a riot of colour against a base that is very, very desaturated. And so everything is kind of fighting with itself. And it makes it very difficult to focus in on one set of details because your attention's drawn all over the place, right? And there's no one focal point to go in on. Reset your eyes on the mini and then explore the other features of it. Everything's kind of, look at me, no, look at me, no, look at me, no, look at me, no, fucking look at me, mother. It's a little bit like that. So, what you could do, you could darken down a few of the other areas. So, make the green on the shoulder pads and the cloth, because that's both up quite high on the model and quite prominent on the model. You could make that more of a focal point. And one of the ways to do that is to dim down some of the areas you've got around it. So the purple on the plume, on the armband thing that he's wearing, stuff like that. You could darken those down a little bit, brighten the green up a little, and I'd probably ditch some of the yellow you've got in and around the chest area. I know it's meant to be like star metal or gold or whatever it is that Eldars make their bling out of. But maybe just find another way of doing that. Just because then you've got one focal point, which is I'm looking at the helmet, I'm looking at the face mask, and then I've got the eyes going in there. I've got this green cloth at the bottom, which draws my eyes down the miniature. And I can see then all of the rest of the detail unfold in front of me. What you've done, technically, has been executed very well. Everything is in the right spot. You've got good shadows, you've got good highlights. All of these things are absolutely spot on. But the mini has to tell a bit of a story on the way through. I hope that makes sense. I hope that doesn't come across as being a little bit too harsh. There's a guy, Elroy, who painted Gazgul that we've shown on stream repeatedly. He is a phenomenal painter. His stuff is own style, and I adore it. I'm going to go and see him at No Retreat in a couple of months. And he did an amazing video that explains how he put all of the colours in the places that he chose on his Ghazghkull. And it explains it far better than I could just then. So look for him on YouTube, EL, I think _ ROI, or it might all be one word, but L Roy. He's an amazing, amazing painter. And watch his video on YouTube. It's in English. He's Spanish. And it'll explain it a lot better than I could just then. But that is it for the whip. We finally got through the whip at only 12:15, 45 minutes after the stream was due to end. We've done this tonight. The compressor still works, so that's a plus. Woo! Let's go and find somebody else on Twitch. So you can pass the hobby love on to. That was meant to be a quick whip, and we spent. Shut up, you. We spent a good half an hour doing it. So, where's my drink? My days. Honestly, man, it's my pleasure. Thank you, all of you, for putting your toy soldiers in the whip. Because it can be... We've got some great painters in the community. And it can be a little bit daunting exposing your work, right? So thank you to all of you for doing it. Who have we got? We've got Malev. No, let's just... Yeah, let's see who else is on. We'll go with like the let's see if there's somebody with like almost no followers. But the last couple of times I've done this, I've been someone that has almost no personality, which has been difficult. Smooth Blend Studio painting some Necrons. Everyone said enough Necrons. Got some Space Doggos, but there's some assembly being done there. So building some Lego. Almost kind of want to go and watch that, if I'm honest. A speed paint off. That could be fun. So currently it's speed paint or Malev. I'll leave it to you. Speed painting or Malev? You tell me. 2 dorks, 1 brush. I'm not even going to consider that. I don't even know what that is. Oh, painting a squig. It's a dude there. Right, I see. Who was doing a Lego? I don't know. It was some guy putting some Ninjago together, I think it said. Asgardian Studio. Playing Legos. Why not? Bellfire, how you doing? Right. Just because it's Des, we're going here. This guy's painting actually quite a nice looking mini. Yeah, this is cool. I can get behind this. This is alright. So when we get there, give the guy some love. It's 2 dorks, 1 brush. I mean, what could go wrong following that raid, right? Peace out, everyone. See you on Thursday night, where we might be painting Necrons. We might be finishing this or doing more to this guy. Have a good one.
Part of where he's missing it out.